just have a couple questions for you today, folks. Maybe 3 questions. Well, actually, it's going to end up to be more than that, but at least 2 to 3 questions to start with. And, of course, a couple of observations, and we will try to squeeze in some of your phone calls during the program today, all of it on Election Day. And I've been really thinking about something. By the way, greetings. Great to have you here. Here's the phone number if you want to be on the program, 800-282-2882. The email address, lrushball@eibnet.com. Let me get to the questions first. Very simple question. Do you think that more Republicans will vote for Mitt Romney today than voted for John McCain in 2008? I assume everybody's saying yes. And by the way, welcome to all of the libs and Democrat buddies that we have. I know that Election Day, they tune in here in droves because what they want to hear is us giving up. They want to hear frustration. They want to hear resignation. And they just can't wait. They just want to hear that because they're not sure. They're insecure. They don't know who to believe, who to trust. And so they want to get some sign from this program that everything's going to be okay for them. So just these questions. To ask you the question again, will more Republicans vote for Romney than voted for McCain in 2008? Yes. Will fewer Democrats vote for Obama this year than voted for Obama in 2008? You may be a little undecided on that last question. Let me rephrase it. Do you think more Democrats will vote for Obama this year than voted for him in 2008? Does anybody think that? Okay, so if you those 2 questions alone answer this. And let me give you another set of facts just to calm by the way, Stephanie Cutter, the Obama campaign aide, has warned all of the Democrats and liberals to ignore the exit polls. She sent out tweets. She's been on media, Facebook, everywhere, emails. Don't pay any attention to the first couple waves of exit polls. She says the reason that the exit polls are going to show the Republicans ahead is that the Democrats have so much voted in advance. So much early voting has taken place that their votes are already banked. And it won't be reflected in the exit polls. Now, normally it's our side that's telling everybody be worried. Don't pay attention to the exit polls. Now they're doing it. Brad Thor, the thriller author, lives in Chicago, is saying that he has heard that the regime is going to proclaim an early victory, say 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon, in an effort to suppress Republican vote. In Ohio, the Gannett newspaper, the Gannett website, CincinnatiNow.com, inadvertently, it's according to our buddy Ed Morrissey at Hot Air, inadvertently published the fact that Romney is up 92,000 votes in Ohio early voting. And then Gannett pulled the link. And nobody knows why Gannett pulled the link. The data is still up at their site, or it was as of 9:30, but they have pulled that link from the front page. And the reason that they I think, is that Ohio does not release early voting data separately. They wait till the end of the day to release it all together. But somehow Gannett got some early voting numbers that showed Romney up 92,000, and they pulled it. I don't know I'm just telling you what's out there, folks. You can digest this as you will. But I think it's interesting. It comes on the heels of Stephanie Cutter saying, don't pay any attention to the first wave of exit polls, because they're going to favor the Republicans, because our votes are already in. We've early voted out the wazoo out there, and it won't be counted. Now, as you know, I have been making a big deal about 2010 as a turnout model as opposed to 2008. I don't think there's any similarity in this election to 2008. And let me repeat it again. Why? I mean, this is not wishful thinking. This is direct, pure analysis. I think everything about Obama has to be contrasted to 2008, not last week or 2 weeks ago or 6 months ago, but 2008 when it comes to voting for him. 2008, who was he? He was whatever you wanted him to be, positively. You could make him a messiah, and he was. You could make him a guy that was going to end partisanship, and he was. You could make him out to be a guy that was going to make the world love us, and he was. You could make him out to be a guy that was going to end all war and close Club Gitmo and create jobs, and he was all of that. This is, I think, crucially important to understanding the fundamentals of this election. And the polling data isn't going to get anywhere near this. The polls are not asking these kinds of questions. They're not going anywhere near this. But I don't know how you can avoid it. I don't know how you can avoid the Obama of 2008 versus the Obama of today and the 2010 election. And none of those things are factored in with anything that you see in any analysis or any polling. Now, I could be all wet, too. We'll find out in due course. But the Obama of 2012, in comparison to the Obama of 2008, is a giant letdown. I mean, you talk about air out of the balloon, none of what people thought he was. I mean, even this, the black columnist in the LA Times who wrote the piece, The Magic Negro. I mean, not even that survives. Not one of the positives that people attached to Barack Obama in 2008 is alive today. It survives. We know that he is a divider, not a uniter. We know that the wars are not over. We know that he's incompetent in foreign policy vis-a-vis Benghazi and the Arab Spring. We know that jobs are worse. Poverty is up. The number of Americans on food stamps is up. And home prices dipped in September. The Obama economy continues. Home prices slipped in September after gaining for 6 months in a row as values were weighed down by cheaper distressed sales. There isn't any good economic news. There isn't one thing that Obama has done that's improved. Everything he's done, everything he's touched has gotten worse. Now, you compare that to 2008, and remember, you got a lot of votes. Obama got a lot of votes because he was the blank slate, because anybody could make him out to be whatever they wanted. Now he's a known quantity, not nearly as glittering, not nearly as shining, and so the votes that he's going to get today are perfunctory. They're votes of loyalty. They're votes primarily Democrats that are going to be loyal, but there's no enthusiasm. There's no energy. Obama's crowds, I mean, even with Bruce Springsteen and Jay-Z, he filled only half an arena last night in Iowa. Meanwhile, Romney, at 11:15 in New Hampshire, is sold out of a huge amount. To be fair, he had Kid Rock with him. All of these fundamentals, all the externals, don't jive with what we're hearing in the polls. That's what's so confounding about this. That's what has people so confused. The externals, the things that you can see, the things you can feel, the things you can touch, the things that you can sense, don't jive with the polling data. But the polling data carries a lot of weight in people's minds. People are afraid to go against it. People are afraid to say, polls are wrong. But I'm just going to tell you that if the GOP turns out today like they did in 2010, it's over. It's no more complicated than that. And that's why 2010 matters. And is there anything that's happened between 2010 and today to make the GOP less enthusiastic? What would it be? Somebody tell me why. What has happened between 2010 and today to make the Tea Party, for example, less enthusiastic? My take on it is the Tea Party's bigger. The Tea Party is transformed now. They're not just a bunch of malcontents at town halls. They now are deep-rooted, grassroots organizations that have gigantic get-out-the-vote operations. They're much different. They have evolved and they've grown. What has happened between 2010 and today to lessen Republican enthusiasm? By the same token, what's happened between 2010 and today to jack up or ramp up Democrat enthusiasm? So I'll go through these observations again, and then I'm going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, you know that CNN poll yesterday that had it tied 49-49 with a Democrat plus 11 sample? I looked at that poll, and there is a piece of information in that poll that, if it is accurate, makes Dick Morris right on the money. It is a stunning, in fact, little bitty piece of information that's tucked away in a chart that 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100, 999 out of 1,000 people would gloss over and not even see. But if it's right, folks, we're whistling Dixie here. I'll get to that in just a moment. Again, the question: do you think more Republicans will vote today than did in 2008 for John McCain? Do you think fewer Democrats will vote today than did for Obama in 2008? Fine. If the turnout, Republican turnout, is like 2010, Romney wins big. If it's like 2004, Romney wins big. However, if the turnout today is like 2008, then Obama's going to win. It's that simple. If the turnout's like 2000, does anybody think that the turnout's going to be 2008? Yeah, the polls do. The polls all do. And by the way, let me clarify something for you on these polls. Let's use CNN. CNN Democrat sample plus 11. Many people misunderstand that CNN puts that together that way on purpose. That's not what happens. CNN is not deciding to interview 11% more Democrats than Republicans because they think that's what the turnout's going to be. CNN just calling their sample. If 1,200 people, they call 1,200 people. And of that 1,200 people, there were plus 11 Democrats in that sample. That's why they do it. It's not that they're orchestrating it. It's not that they're saying, we want a sample of Democrat plus 11, so that's what we're going to put together. That's what genuinely happens when they make their phone calls or do their interviews. Then you add some things that Republicans don't usually talk to pollsters, particularly evangelicals. But that's why the polls believe what they believe. They are not assembling these samples. They're making their phone calls. Now, their sample, who knows what they know before they put it together, but I'm telling you, they will tell you, and any other professional pollster will tell you, that, no, we just called our 1,200 people, and it turned out today that we ended up with a Democrat sample of plus 11. Scott Rasmussen today, by the way, said, I have no clue. I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen. First time in my career, I have no idea. Ed Goaz, the battleground poll, last battleground poll, has it Romney by 1.5 points. That's about 1,200,000 votes. That's enough to win, plus the Electoral College. But there's this little thing in this CNN poll that I want to run by you. I don't want to make too big a deal of it because nobody has, but it's there. I mean, it's in their poll that everybody's touting as one of the polls that we should believe. So we'll be back here, a brief obscene profit timeout. We'll come back and continue right after this.
Hear it now. About it in the paper tomorrow. Rush on the EIB network. Welcome to How Gullible Are You? Now, with today's questions, here's your genial host, Rush Limbaugh.
Did you believe Bill Clinton when he said, I did not have sex with that woman, not a single time, ever. I never asked anybody to lie. Did you believe Bill Clinton? Did you believe Bob Torricelli when he denied all the things he had to leave the Senate for? Did you believe David Axelrod when he said Obama and Blagojevich discussed his Senate replacement? Did you believe Obama's Axelrod when he said he misspoke about Obama and Blagojevich having that discussion? Did you believe Jesse Jackson Jr. when he said he met with Blagojevich for 90 minutes and pay to play never came up? When Obama said things will get better, did he mean it? Or did he misspeak?
Now, let's see how you scored with How Gullible Are You?
If you answered yes to all 5, you are a liberal for life, or you are a drive-by journalist. If you answered yes to 2 or 3 of these questions, you are a moderate. And there remains hope for you if you remain a regular attendee at classes here at the Limbaugh Institute. If you answered no to all 5, you are grounded in reality and are thus cursed, because you will be forever hounded, frustrated, and driven to near insanity by the gullible who did pass this test.
Join us next time for How Gullible Are You? This has been an EIB production. Want to lead an environmentally friendly lifestyle, but your SUV and powerboat get in the way? Introducing the EIB Carbon Credit Card. With the EIB Carbon Credit Card, for every dollar you spend on yourself, an equal amount is spent on holistic carbon set-off projects, like planting trees along the border with Mexico, to reforest the Southwest, and create an impassable barrier.
We're lost, amigos. Let's go home.
You can be part of creating kelp farms in the ocean, teaching dolphins to feed penguins, harnessing the rays of the sun to power a windmill. And best of all, the EIB Carbon Credit Card isn't just for people like you. It's also great for governments, too. Go ahead, buy a half-decaf cafe latte and comfort a whale. Buy a sweater and send life-saving ice to a polar bear cub. Or send up the space shuttle and reforest New Mexico. You can save the Earth with the new EIB Carbon Credit Card. Do you suffer from affluenza, an affliction unique to America's high achievers?
Hey, nice car. I don't deserve it. I'm just one of the lucky ones who took out student loans and went to night schools. I worked hard nights and weekends, and then all of a sudden, 20 years later, I'm president of the company.
That's when affluenza strikes.
I'm so ashamed. Gee, I'm sorry.
Fortunately, there is a simple cure for affluenza. Listen to Rush Limbaugh 3 hours a day, every day.
Is there a radio in this car? Why?
And the debilitating symptoms of affluenza will vanish like magic.
I think there's somebody you should listen to.
Listen to Rush Limbaugh every day for fast, effective relief of common affluenza. And continue to listen to prevent reoccurrence. Common side effects include increased alertness, a swelling of the bank account, marked improvement of your golf swing, and a heightened appreciation of fine cigars. Rush Limbaugh, the cure for common affluenza.
And here we are, El Rushbo, your guiding light through times of trouble, confusion, murkiness, tumult, chaos, deceit, lying, and even the good times. Happy to have you here, 800-282-2882, email address elrushbo@eibnet.com. Okay, let's look at the CNN poll from yesterday, which everybody touted. We talked about it, too. The CNN poll had it tied 49-49 and a Democrat sample of plus 11, and it also had Romney ahead of Obama in independents 59-37. Everybody talked about that. And everybody was puzzled. They were scratching their heads. What is this, Democrat plus 11? Where you get that? That's just how their sample turned out. And Romney ahead in independents by a large margin. But there's something else in this CNN poll that nobody talked about. I don't know if when I first looked at it, I said, wait a minute, this can't be right. And I looked at everything else, and everything else adds up. Let me tell you what the CNN poll says on partisan preference, on who's going to vote and how. 99% of the Republicans are going to vote for Romney, and 1% are going to vote for Obama. And the independents, 59% going to vote for Romney, 37% for Obama. Those numbers were all reported, but there's one more. According to CNN's poll yesterday, 5% of Democrats will vote for Romney. 93% of Democrats will vote for Obama. So let's put it all together. Democrats plus 11, tied poll, 49-49. Romney wins independents, 59-37. However, 99%, this is what CNN says. This is the voting pattern in their poll. 99% of the Republicans voting for Obama, 5% of Democrats voting for Obama, and 59% of Romney. 99% of Republicans voting Romney, 5% of Democrats voting Romney, 59% independents voting Romney. That 5% that CNN says of Democrats is going to vote for Romney, if that happens, this is all academic. This, by the way, does anybody know anybody who voted for McCain who's voting for Obama? Do you know anybody who voted for Obama who might be voting for Romney? I know, well, it's anecdotal, but I know a bunch. Anyway, this little number here is, I don't know what to make of this. But to me, it's if it's accurate and it's a part of the poll, it's the one part of it that nobody mentioned. I don't know if anybody saw it or if they didn't give it any weight. But they reported the independent split. They reported a Democrat plus 11. See, the Democrat plus 11 doesn't tell us how that Democrat sample is going to vote. It's the internal in the CNN poll that tells you that. So a Democrat plus 11 sample, yeah, it sounds bad if all Democrats are going to vote for Obama. But according to the CNN poll itself, 5% of Democrats today are voting for Romney, along with 99% of Republicans and 59% of independents. If that happens, no wonder Obama was crying last night in Iowa. Now, I am not predicting it, and I'm not saying bank on it, and none of this matters if you don't vote. None of the answers to my questions matter if you don't vote. This 5% Democrats voting for Romney doesn't matter if people don't vote. The 99% of Republicans voting for Romney doesn't matter if people don't vote. This is a turnout election. And the best thing I can tell you is do not listen to anything anybody says from now on about exit polls, about fraud, about voting machines, about it. Just vote. And take as many people with you as you can. Just vote. It's a turnout election, and it is voting that's going to determine the outcome. I know it sounds simple, but it's true. Is your terror cell living in terror?
Now this word from the New York Times to jihadists everywhere.
Is your safe house not that safe? If you want your sleeper cell to sleep safely, read the New York Times.
Jihadists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
I saved my sleeper cell thanks to the New York Times.
For information you can't get anywhere else.
Did you know your phone calls are traced? Did you know your money transfers are being intercepted?
Now, thanks to the New York Times, you will be safe and secure.
I rerouted my terror funds thanks to the New York Times.
From Tora Bora to Tijuana, terrorists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
Because you'll find all the secret stuff that makes news meaningful to you.
Plus, exciting bonus features.
Daily attacks on the infidels by Maureen O'Dowd and Paul Al Krugman and Tom Al Friedman. Not to mention the entire front page of our newspaper, which is daily attacks on the infidels.
Gift subscriptions available.
We offer at the New York Times quantity discounts for large terror cells, educational discounts for madrasas and terrorist training camps. Read the New York Times and your sleeper cell can sleep safely.
Even in the deepest, darkest cave, you'll be the first to get inside knowledge of what the infidels have in mind to wipe you out.
New York Times, the Infidels Jihad Journal.
There's just one place to go for all your spatula needs. Spatula City! Spatula City! A giant warehouse of spatulas for every occasion. Thousands to choose from in every shape, size, and color. And because we eliminate the middleman, we can sell all our spatulas factory direct to you. Where do you go when you want to buy name brand spatulas at a fraction of retail cost? Spatula City! Spatula City! And this weekend only, take advantage of our special liquidation sale. Buy 9 spatulas, get the 10th one for just 1 penny. Don't forget, they make great Christmas presents. And what better way to say I love you than with a gift of a spatula? Spatula City! Spatula City!
Hello, this is Cy Greenbloom, president of Spatula City. I like their spatulas so much, I bought the company.
Spatula City, 7 locations. We're in the yellow pages under Spatulas.
Spatula City, we sell spatulas, and that's all.
New from Capitol Records, Fritz Hollings.
There's corruption everywhere out there.
And James Carville.
That's right. Corruption at the highest level.
Too much corrupting going on out there.
Dueling Bozos.
We all know what's causing it.
Hollings and Carville together for the first time.
So much corrupting going on there, it's even corrupted me.
Singing the only tune they know.
Yeah, everybody's guilty. I mean, come on.
Nothing we can do about it, no matter where we go. We go to breakfast, we go to Wednesday afternoon square dances.
We need to change the law.
I never even knew the word exacerbate until I came to Washington. I went down to that barbecue.
Wasn't that in the Star Report?
Why was LBJ here? Who the hell cares anymore anyway? All I know is that it was corrupt then and it's exacerbating now.
Yeah, all they're out there doing is talking about Buddhist monks.
They found this woman guilty. Guilty of what?
So what are you doing about it?
But what am I doing? I'm trying to pass a constitutional amendment to make sure that nobody give any money to politicians.
Especially politicians that fly the confetti flag.
I flew that flag, I flew it proudly.
That the
As far as
person
I'm
who was in
concerned,
charge of
George
getting
Bush is the one who's got to explain it. That's how out of whack it is. It's so corrupt, so exacerbating that a breach truck had to bring in a pork flowing barbecue with a bunch of contributors and nobody who's ever met. Until we get going,
Suckers that keep the building from day to day,
fine gold,
day after day.
nothing is going to get
Dueling
fixed around
Bozos. Available wherever this record is sold.
Sorry for the delay there, folks. Waiting for the printer to disgorge the latest job. It's some early voting numbers out of Ohio. Overall, this from Josh Kraushaar, by the way, who is with or is close to the Romney campaign. Overall, early voting turnout in Ohio is up 2.44% overall in the state. Early voting up 2.44%. The details. Early voting down 4.1% in Obama-Carey counties. Early voting in Ohio up 14% in Bush-McCain counties. So the early voting in Ohio, now this kind of dovetails with the little blurb we got from Ed Morrissey this morning at Hot Air. Hot Air published on their website the fact that Romney was up 92,000 in Ohio early voting. Then they pulled the link. And then it's acknowledged here that early voting in Ohio is up 14% in 2008 McCain counties and down 4% in Obama counties. Now, Gannett pulled that link because the state of Ohio doesn't officially release such things until tonight. So everybody's wondering, well, did somebody at Gannett, for example, is Ohio got a direct line to the media? Nothing wrong with that. I'm just thinking, how could this happen? Does Ohio have a direct line to the media in addition to public websites with results? And did Gannett inadvertently publish something that shouldn't have been? And they took it down. Whatever, they did publish that Romney was up 92,000 in early voting, and it correlates with what is known, that early voting is up 14% in McCain counties from 2008, down 4% in Obama-Carey counties. And Stephanie Cutter, again, you got to remind people, she says, don't Don't pay any attention to first wave exit polls. Are going to show the Republicans up. That's because our vote's already banked. Our vote's already counted or taken place. And it's not going to be exit polled and all that. So, look, I'm throwing this stuff out because this is what I'm getting. So I'm just sharing it with you. I'm not making any predictions. You know, if everybody's asking me, what do you know? Well, I'm just telling you what I know. It's as though you had a direct line to me. I wonder what Rush knows that we don't. I'm telling you. Everything I find out, I'm passing on. Good, bad, indifferent, what have you. And mixed in with my own invaluable opinion. Rudy Giuliani, ladies and gentlemen, has been heroic the past week on television regarding Benghazi, regarding Obama's malfeasance and incompetence, dangerous incompetence. And we learned yesterday, of course, that CBS, in an interview with Obama on September 12th, the day after the attack in Benghazi, CBS has the audio, mentioned this to you yesterday, where Obama specifically says it's too soon to know whether it's a terror attack. Now, the reason this is important is because in the second debate, Romney got Obama on record as saying that he had said it was a terror attack in the Rose Garden. And Candy Crowley, in brilliant incompetence on her part, joined in, teamed up against Romney with Obama. And so, yeah, here's the transcript. Yes, he said it was terrorism. He never did. In fact, the next day, and CBS didn't air it. CBS had it for 2 weeks and knew all along that Obama had not called it a terror attack. CBS could have aired what they edited out of the original broadcast and settled this. And you would think as journalists that that's what they would do. They knew something nobody else knew. That's what journalism is. You find out what people don't know and you tell them. Well, they found out what they knew and it didn't help Obama, so they held it. Until last Friday, when Scott Pelley said, oh, by the way, you know, we went back and we looked at our Obama interview on 60 Minutes. You know what? Look at this and, you know, tell us this. In the aftermath of the hurricane, by the way, I am glad I reminded myself of that. Last night, I turned on Fox for the first time in a long time. I don't watch cable news anymore, folks. It's either too infuriating or there's nothing to learn there. It's like, I don't watch the Sunday shows either. There's nothing against Fox. I don't watch CNN or MSNBC. It's not just Fox. But I don't watch the Sunday shows either. I used to never miss them. Back in Sacramento, my early days in New York, they were all educational. They ceased being educational years ago. I don't learn anything. All I learn is that the Democrats in the media are Democrats first and media second, and I know what they're going to say before they say it, and I don't need to hear them say it to know what they're going to say. So I don't watch. As a result, there was something I didn't know that has become Republican consultant conventional wisdom that I think is full of it. Do you know what I learned last night? I learned that Romney lost all the momentum that he had because of Hurricane Sandy. No. I didn't know that. But I watched, I don't care who it was that appeared on Fox. It was on first O'Reilly and then Hannity and then after that Greta. There are all kinds of people. Here's the story. Romney lost the momentum. He was on a roll. Gallup had him up 5 points. Then the hurricane hits and Obama automatically looks presidential. And then Obama got the big bear hug from Christie, and that totally shut Romney's momentum down. And only yesterday, all of these people say the same thing, only yesterday did Romney's momentum resume. And I'm watching this, and I'm literally watching with incredulity. I'm asking myself, do they really think people's attitudes change like this? For example, you are hot to trot Republican or even independent Romney voter. You can't wait for Election Day. Then Hurricane Sandy comes, and all of a sudden, your enthusiasm for Romney dies, and you start thinking of voting for Obama. But then, and of course, then the Christie hug, that makes you really lose your enthusiasm for Romney. But then on Sunday and Monday, you know what? You start thinking, I like Romney again. I don't know anybody who thinks this way. Not in big numbers. Now, Snerdley's looking at me like I'm loopy. Do you disagree with me? The thing that you know what I think happens here? By the way, this didn't matter who the consultant was. It was Britt Hume, Dr. Krauthammer. That's what happened last week. That's what was formulated to explain the polls tightening. Hurricane Sandy. I'm sitting here and said, this is why I don't watch this stuff anymore, folks, because I don't conceive of human behavioral patterns that. Instead, what I think is going on, I think it's somebody that everybody respects formulates a theory that's based on their own fear. And then they project that to all of us. And so their fears become your reality in their mind. They're the analysts, and they think that people's attitudes shift on a dime like this. And I think there may be evidence for, in some cases, the Bush DUI in 2000, that did deflate his poll numbers by 3 or 4 points. But I mean, that was something real that involved Bush, and that's an open election. There's no incumbent with a horrible, rotten record. It's not even comparable. So I'm sitting watching this, and then, but it's okay because the momentum's coming back now. And the momentum started shifting back to Romney on Sunday. So why? Well, the reason the momentum started shifting back to Romney is because people then saw that Obama wasn't doing anything about Sandy. He was out campaigning, and he did that one appearance. I was like, you really think people think this way? And they give up on Romney because of the hurricane. They see Obama looking presidential. They get all depressed. And then after a while, they see Obama not doing anything. They go, okay, I'm back to Romney. And then I started asking myself, who knows that Obama's not doing anything? This hurricane and the aftermath are being nowhere near covered like Katrina was. Who outside of New York knows the hell these people are going through? I submit nobody does. Unless you watch Fox, you don't know the hell. Unless you watch New York Local, you don't know what these people are going through. We don't have Anderson Cooper on top of the Superdome. We don't have Shep Smith crying 24/7 from an interstate highway in New Orleans like he was during Katrina. We don't have any of that. We don't have CBS, ABC, NBC 24/7 reporting from New York and New Jersey about the hardships. It's my contention that people around the country don't even really know. They're not being told nearly to the extent they were about Hurricane Katrina. Therefore, how can there be all this momentum shift? I mean, this is not momentum. This is stopping on a dime and then picking back up on a dime. And I just had to make this observation, too, because I saw this last night and it just did not compute. And I don't want anybody to misunderstand here. I am not picking fights or feuds with anybody. I'm just reacting. If you would have been in my library last night watching this with me, you would have heard the same thing. I'm looking around and say, how the hell can this happen? How the hell can this be? So, since you weren't in my living room last night, I'm telling you today what I was thinking last night and saying. But I'm not picking. And then I try to understand, okay, why do they think this? And then I started putting together my theory that, well, it's their fear that Romney's losing momentum. And then they project that fear onto all of us as us being just like them in their fears. And, of course, I don't think that happens. What's the latest in this saga? The latest in this saga is that Obama, wherever he was yesterday, Madison, Wisconsin, Springsteen concert, put Springsteen on the phone to Governor Christie. Governor Christie talks to Springsteen, and then tells the AP went home and cried because it meant so much to him. Okay, what does that do to the Romney momentum? I got to leave it to the expert analyst to figure that out for me. What did that do to the Romney momentum? That Christie cried after talking to Springsteen. Such drivel, you know.
Now, America needs you more than ever.
Go vote and get everybody you know to go vote.
In the public interest.
Just go vote.
From the EIB network. Eight years after going to work for then-Governor George W. Bush, 6 years after he started working at the White House, and 2 years after being out of work with no prospect of employment, Scott McClellan now says he felt compelled to speak out for the first time in his new book, Whatever Happened to Scott McClellan.
I just remembered that things were really bad at the White House, and I think speaking out can make a difference.
This red-hot blockbuster is full of secret personal insights from Scott, like
we need to move beyond the bitter partisanship of Washington politics and just roll over.
Find out what was really going on with Karl Rove and Scooter Libby.
I was kept out of the loop by Carl and Scooter, who went behind closed doors to laugh at me behind my back.
Discover who was really behind the CIA leak.
Richard Armitage? No, I've never heard of him.
Critics are raving about Whatever Happened to Scott McClellan. I couldn't have written it better myself, says Anita Hill. So believable, I sent one to my pastor, says Barack Obama. And George Soros says,
Forget MoveOn.org. This is the best money I've ever invested.
Whatever Happened to Scott McClellan? From Lefty Press and bookstores today, in flea markets tomorrow. New from Capitol Records, Fritz Hollings.
There's corruption everywhere out there.
And James Carville.
That's right. Corruption at the highest level.
Too much corrupting going on out there.
Dueling Bozos.
We all know what's causing it.
Hollings and Carville together for the first time.
So much corrupting going on out there, and it's even corrupted me.
Singing the only tune they know.
Yeah, everybody's guilty. I mean, come on.
Nothing we can do about it no matter where we go. We go to breakfast, we go to Wednesday afternoon square dances.
We need to change the law.
I never even knew the word exacerbate until I came to Washington. I went down to that barbecue.
Wasn't that in the Star Report?
Why was LBJ here? Who the hell cares anymore anyway? All I know is that it was corrupt then and it's exacerbating now.
Yeah, all they're out there doing is talking about Buddhist monks.
They found this woman guilty. Guilty of what?
So what are you doing about it?
So what am I doing? I'm trying to pass a constitutional amendment to make sure that nobody can give any money to politicians.
Especially politicians that fly the confetti flag.
I flew that flag, I flew it proudly.
That the
as far as I'm concerned, George Bush is the one started complaining. That's how out of whack it is. It's so corrupt, so exacerbating that a breach truck had to bring in a pork-flowing barbecue with a bunch of contributors and nobody he's ever met. Until we get going,
from day to day, day after day.
Nothing's gonna get
Dueling Bozos. Available wherever this record is sold. What better gift for the liberal on your...
I'll tell you something, that whole Sandy narrative that it helped Obama, who started that? It wasn't our guys. That was the media that started that. Kept hoping and praying that Sandy would give Obama, but they knew last week Obama needed a boost. They've known all along that Obama doesn't even have his base cemented and tied down. So they start that, then our guys agree with it. No, even if you think it, why say it? If you are a Republican strategist, if it says that on TV and it says that's what you are, people watching presume or assume it as a Republican strategist, you are strategizing to help Republicans win. Well, why the hell say that, even if you do that? I don't understand this stuff. And, two other things thrown in the hopper. The Romney campaign is saying that the Daily Mail story yesterday of their internals, not true. Their internals have not leaked. They have not told anybody what their internals are. And the story had that Romney was up 1.5 in Ohio and tied in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. None of that's true. Romney's camp has not leaked their internals. They're not out. Second thing, Howard Dean has just said the only way Obama can lose Ohio is if people are prevented from casting their ballots there. So here we are at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern on Election Day, and the Democrats are already starting to make excuses for losing Ohio. And I'll tell you why this is happening, because Howard Dean, anybody else can look at these early voting numbers. These early voting numbers are public. They're known. Obama early voting down 4% in Obama counties from 2008, up 14% in Republican counties. And right on schedule, here comes Howard Dean. Well, the only way Obama can lose Ohio is if there's fraud. As if our guys are not allowed to vote. Meanwhile, it's the new Black Panthers that have positioned themselves in Philadelphia again. You want to talk about preventing people from voting, the only people doing that are Democrats. Now, finally, Rudy. He's heroic on Benghazi. He was last night on Fox. He was with Fox and Friends this morning. Brian Kilmeade said, and by the way, he's not just Benghazi. This is on Katrina and Hurricane Sandy. Kilmeade said, you blasted FEMA. You said this response is similar to what we saw at Katrina. It seems the president's getting a total pass. What could you have done if you were thinking ahead?
Pre-position the water, pre-position generators, kind of anticipate the fact that there'd be a lack of gasoline and have a lot of that ready to go. And then, if I had forgot one of those things, there are airplanes to bring them in. When FEMA said, oh, you don't have enough water because we didn't pre-position it, first of all, everybody should yell out, what are you, a bunch of idiots? They could fly it in immediately. They can fly it in today. You can fly anything you want to Kennedy Airport. This is as bad as Katrina.
It is, and this storm was a week out. There was a week's worth of warning for people to stock up here, from Obama to FEMA to whoever else. I'll tell you, Rudy's kicking butt on this stuff. And then Kilmeade said, well, President Obama's getting a total pass. And so are the governors. They're getting a total pass.
This is like F-. This is about as bad as it gets. President's getting away with it. If this were a President Bush, you don't want to know what the media would be doing to him. Oh, my goodness. But they're trying to protect this man, just like they're protecting him on Benghazi. Same problem, by the way. Campaigner-in-chief took over for Commander-in-Chief. Chris Christie embraced him. Great job. He takes off for Las Vegas with his jacket, Commander-in-Chief. Actually, I should say Campaigner-in-Chief, and then he forgets about us. As soon as he got his credit, he's off and running, and his FEMA is fumbling day after day after day.
That is exactly right. As soon as Obama got the credit, with one stop, getting accolades, getting praise, getting job well done attaboys from Chris Christie, Obama's gone. Mission accomplished. Yep, that's exactly right, Limbaugh. I made it look like I care, made it look like I'm working on it, and I'm gone. He knows exactly who his friends are. And Rudy is he's nailing this just like he's nailing Benghazi.
Rush. Make the commitment on the EIB network. Now, continuing coverage on the countdown to disaster. As the clock runs out on the nation's debt ceiling limit, President Obama speaks again.
My fellow Americans, in just a few days, the United States government will run out of money, which is driving the Asian markets crazy.
You cut spending, grow economy, redact debt.
See what I mean? Crazy. Checks to our seniors, our soldiers, and the unemployed are all in jeopardy because I will spend what little money we have left on green jobs and other important initiatives that we have.
Shut up. Make plan, pay debt.
A plan?
You are ineffective.
I did get those apples in the Happy Meals.
Stay tuned for continuing coverage on the countdown to disaster. Be an army of at least one. By volunteering for duty as a DNC seminar caller, you'll receive advanced basic training from our sensitive, caring professionals.
What's your number, soldier?
1-800-282-2885?
How you gonna make it past the call screen if you don't know the number? Drop and give me 20 on the rotary dial. The rest of you, repeat after me. I love your show, and I always agree with you. And I voted for Bush.
And you'll earn promotions and medals.
Son, we're very proud of you.
What's that medal for?
This one's for touch tone. This is for getting past the call screener, and this big one here is for actually talking to the host and flawlessly saying, I love your show, I always agree with you, and I voted for Bush.
Be on radio and say what we want you to say. All scripts provided by the Democratic National Committee. Help us take back our monopoly on public opinion. Volunteers especially needed from noon to 3 Eastern. Now, an urgent global warming message from Albert Gore Jr.
The more we study global warming, the more we learn. Take cow flatulence, for instance. Recent studies have shown that the abundance of gas from cow flatulence is more dangerous than automobile emissions. So right here on my Tennessee farm, we're studying new holistic farming methods to reduce cow flatulence. We've already stopped the emission of gas from Gertrude here by using nothing but natural cork. Then, we've gently massaged her to reduce stress and anxiety, the root causes of cow flatulence. Now, we'll apply acupuncture to... Oh, darn. Lost another one. Well, science is a continual learning process. Can somebody get me a handy wipe? Make that 2.
And
I've been thinking, too, folks, about people like you and me who think this election is about maintaining America as founded, and those who think it's just the next election. It's just the next contest between the Republicans and the Democrats, and who don't get that this is about America. And I'm thinking about how to reach those people. I've been thinking about that for years, but really today I've been thinking about how to reach those people. We'll be back. Don't go away.
I'm so in love with me. Wherever we go, it's free. That's all right with me. You get to fly your plane too. Vacations with all the finest food. Oh, baby, let's stay here forever. I'm leaving here never, never. If times are good or bad, happy or sad. If times are good or bad, happy or sad, I'm saying what? But if people never wake up and Republicans just break up, that's what I need. Axelrod, he could do that for me. David, 2 times or maybe 23. Let's stay here forever. I'm leaving here never, never. If times are good or bad, happy or sad, let's My fellow Americans, soon you will choose your president for the next 4 years. So you need to know, after my first 4 years, unemployment is only 1/10 higher than when I took office. But we can't stop there. In the next 4 years, I promise to have a new Secretary of Business, be more flexible with Russia, and provide free contraception paid for by your insurance premiums, regardless of your religion or ability to procreate.
Let me tell you, folks, there's never been a day in the last 4 years that I've been proud.
Joe, shut up! This is important. Yeah, okay. Yes, there were some bumps in the road, and letting 4 Americans get killed in Benghazi wasn't optimal. But we've learned from our mistakes, and our future is bright. So after 4 years, you know me. So this election comes down to this. Who can you trust? So when you vote for president, vote for revenge.
I Mitt Romney, and I approve this message.
Attention drivers, truckers, RV owners. You enjoy driving and talking on your handheld cell phone, but don't want a ticket? Then you need the Burger and Fries Stealth Cell Phone from Crapco. The phone comes disguised as a lifelike plastic hamburger bun. Add the condiments of your choice for added realism. Stick the included wireless French fry in your ear. Then drive and chat the miles away. And in case you're pulled over by the man,
all right, Mac, you're getting a ticket for driving while using a handheld cell phone.
But, officer, I wasn't on the phone. I was just eating my burger and fries.
Oh, well, that's different. Here, you need a napkin.
Why, thank you, officer.
Plus, each Crapco Burger and Fries Stealth Cell Phone has a lifetime warranty just in case you ever have to eat it.
Hey, that's not one of those Crapco phones, is it? Let me see you take a bite out of that bun.
Sure.
Simply recover the residue and send it to us for a complete refund. The revolutionary Crapco Burger and Fries Stealth Cell Phone. Onions, pickles, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, and sesame seeds not included. What could be worse than a dirty renegade cop with no respect for the law? The soiled senator who writes them. Harry Reid stars as Dingy Harry, Magnum Farce. The true story of a senator from Stoplight, Nevada, who magically becomes a wealthy real estate tycoon overnight.
So you'll help us with a vote as long as we cut you in for a sweet piece of the deal. Aren't you worried it will look like a payoff?
Go ahead. Make my day.
Soon, Harry moves up to become Senate Majority Leader, where he spends his time encouraging the troops.
This war is lost.
Advising General Petraeus.
This war is lost, punk.
Attacking innocent civilians.
We need to censor Rush Limbaugh.
This guy doesn't care if Congress does have the lowest polls ever. He's too busy shooting off his mouth.
It's the most powerful weapon in the world.
Sir, your foot.
It's okay. I've got another one.
Dingy Harry, Magnum Farce, showing daily in the Senate. Now a message from President Barack Obama about today's ATF.
My fellow Americans, in the past, the ATF just regulated the sale of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Pretty boring. But under my administration, we've expanded their mandate to boost the nation's economy with cool new programs like Operation Fast and Furious, where we sold over 2,500 illegal firearms on the Mexican border in record time. Operation Blackout. To help sell new cars, we gave away free cases of liquor to anyone buying a government motors car with a DUI conviction and a suspended license. And Operation Puff More. We need a new generation of smokers to pay taxes. So we rewarded Atlanta school children for their good grades with a carton of smokes.
Today's modern Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Who knows what they'll do next?
Holder, put that bottle down and leave that alone.
Great to have you here, folks. Rush Limbaugh, the Excellence in Broadcasting Network, and Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. Talent on loan from God. Meeting and surpassing all audience expectations every day. Telephone number if you want to be on the program. We're going to get your phone calls in this hour, probably in this half hour. The telephone number is 800-282-2882, and the email address lrushbo@eibnet.com. Just to catch up a little bit on the first hour of the program today, just some perhaps relevant data that I don't want anybody to miss. Early voting stats out of Ohio. In Obama-Carey counties, early voting in Ohio, turnout, early vote turnout. This is not counting votes. They don't do that. They don't count the early votes until they count votes at the end of the day. The early vote turnout in Ohio is up overall 2.5% statewide. However, the way this breaks down, it's down 4% in Obama-Carey counties. It's up 14% in Bush-McCain counties. Now, you have to figure people early voting in Obama-Carey counties are voting Obama. Well, that's another thing I want to get to. That's something that nobody's talking about with these polls. You got CNN yesterday with Democrat plus 11 sample. Okay, cool, fine. But have you noticed that every one of these polls is assuming that every Democrat's voting for Obama? And again, my question to you, do you think more Republicans will vote for Romney than voted for McCain? Without doubt. Do you think that fewer Obama voters will vote this year than in 2008? They do. That's why Obama's doing nothing but shoring up the base. It's Romney who's been, as they say, expanding the map. It's Obama who's been shoring up the base. But by the same token, if the 2010, this continues, I could be proven tonight to be so wrong and so all wet that nobody should be listening to me, but if the 2010 turnout is duplicated this year, and I don't know what's happened to lessen Republican enthusiasm, do you? If the 2010 turnout is duplicated, this is all academic. When you add these things up, early voting turnout in Ohio down for Democrats, up big for Republicans. This is turnout. Ohio, important state. The simple question, Obama, how many people voting for Obama in 2008, they're going to vote for him in 2012? Democrats? It's going to be fewer. I mean, even these pollsters, they don't really think there's going to be 11% more Democrats turn out than Republicans this year. But that takes me to the next nugget. It is from the same CNN poll we talked about yesterday, 49-49, with a Democrat sample of plus 11, Romney winning independents 59-37. The one thing not reported that's right here, from the actual chart in the CNN poll, 99% of Republicans are voting Romney, 1% voting Obama. 93% of Democrats are voting for Obama. 5% of Democrats are voting for Romney, according to CNN. And nobody reported that yesterday. It's tucked away here in a place that I doubt, I know nobody saw it. I haven't heard anywhere. And then, of course, you have the independent breakdown of 59-37 for Romney. So you had the CNN poll yesterday that everybody thinks is gospel. There's one little nugget here. 5% of Democrats in that poll say they're going to vote for Romney. It doesn't mean the Democrat plus 11 sample is wrong. It doesn't. Why? It just means that a lot of those Democrats are voting for Romney. And see, that's what none of these every one of these polls is assuming that every Democrat votes Obama. And that every Republican is voting for Romney. That's more likely than it is every Democrat voting Obama. At any rate, And then Gannett's Cincinnati.com inadvertently published results from Ohio early voting and showed Romney up 92,000. And then they pulled it down. And nobody knows why they pulled it down, except it's not supposed to be released until tonight. So it may be that Gannett, USA Today, that they might have a line already established with the vote counters in Ohio. I'm sure they do. Every network does. Every news agency does. And maybe they just made a mistake publishing it, so they've pulled it down. So that's, and of course, Stephanie Cutter is telling Democrats, don't get depressed at the first wave of exit polls. Our votes have already happened. We've banked our votes in the early voting, and they're not counted. The exit polls don't count the early votes, so you're going to hear Republicans leading, but don't worry about it. Stay calm. Brad Thor, the thriller author in Chicago, claims that he's heard that the Obama campaign is going to claim victory mid to late afternoon today, before the polls close, in an effort to suppress Republican turnout. So beware of that. Britt Hume last night on Special Report with Brett Baer discussed the polls.
We are looking at a set of state polls in the battleground states that suggest that President Obama is leading. He's leading in most of these polls. And most reporters would look at that and say, well, if that's the case, looks like President Obama is going to win. And that's what a lot of people think. That's kind of the conventional wisdom. However, in a number of those polls has a remarkably large number of Democrats in the sample. More Democrats in some cases than turned out by percentage on Election Day 4 years ago, which was a very big year for the Democrats. They don't expect to have as big a year. So those polls are troubling. Now, it would be unprecedented for this many polls reflecting a similar outcome to be wrong, which is why I think people are reluctant to draw that conclusion. But there's something wrong here.
Well, welcome to the club. He's now seeing that the large Democrat sample in a lot of these polls is larger than the Democrat turnout in 2008. And nobody, even the pollsters, nobody thinks that the Democrats are going to turn. It was +7 in 2008. The Republicans were all depressed. They weren't excited about McCain. It was fait accompli. I mean, we went into Election Day 4 years ago knowing it was over. And a lot of voters did too. It's entirely different this time around. But again, I just want to call everybody's attention to the fact that whatever the Democrat sample is, the assumption in all of these polls is that every Democrat's voting Obama. And even without the CNN poll, I know that that's not true. I know that Obama, it stands to reason, is going to get fewer Democrat votes this year than he got in 2008. You disagree with that, Snerdley? Now, I want to take you back. Grab soundbite number 2. I want to take you back to October 30th of 2008. This is one of my all-time favorite audio soundbites from our Grooveyard of Forgotten Soundbites. This is Charlie Rose and Tom Brokaw. And this is a couple of days, 3 or 4 days before the election. And to put this in perspective, we've had a year to a year and a half of a campaign where the media has ostensibly been telling us everything there is about Obama. Of course, we know that they didn't vet him. But despite whether they did or didn't, they have all been urging everybody to vote for Obama. They were in the tank big time. You know it. I know it. You all remember it. And yet, just 3 or 4 days before the election, this conversation took place.
I don't know what Barack Obama's worldview is.
No, I don't either.
know how he really sees where China is.
We don't know a lot about Barack Obama and the universe of his thinking about foreign policy.
I don't really know. And do we know anything about the people who are advising them?
You know, it's an interesting question.
He is principally known through his autobiography and through very aspirational speeches.
I don't know what books he's read.
What do we know about the heroes of Barack Obama?
There's a lot about him we don't know.
It didn't matter. Didn't matter. We were all supposed to vote for the guys. These guys are in the business of finding out who everybody is. These guys are in the business of speaking truth to power, right? These guys are in the business of exposing fraud, deceit, whatever it is, in people of power. That's what they claim their job is. Here it is right before the election. Oh, no, I have no idea who he is. I can't wait to vote for him. I don't know who he is. I think you ought to vote for him. So let's go with Charlie Rose last night. Here are the guests. Al Hunt, Matthew Dowd, John Harris of the Politico, Cokie Roberts, Mark Halpern, Time Magazine, and John Heilemann of New York Magazine. We have a montage of their discussion about the presidential race.
Albert Hunt, where are we?
Charlie, I think that the fat lady is starting to sing. It looks like things are moving in a very, very slow but steady direction in Barack Obama's favor.
Breaking in the president's favor?
Yeah, this is not a dead-even race. It's ultimately going to be a convincing victory by President Obama. It will be close, but it will be convincing.
John Harris?
I agree with that.
Cokie Roberts?
I agree that it's breaking in the president's favor.
Mark Halpern, do you concur?
I think the winner of Ohio will win, and I think there's more reasons to think the president will win Ohio.
Well, let me get John in. You agree with everything people have said?
I do, Charlie. I agree with everything that everybody said.
Well, that's a great guest list, isn't it? 6 people, and they all think identically the same thing. What a great guest roster, Charlie. Not one person on Charlie's show that doesn't, let's remember this, not one person on Charlie's show last night who disagreed. Gloria Borger last night, CNN, The Situation Room, discussing the presidential race.
I think that voters don't really know who either of these guys are in the end. What would a second Obama term look like? And what would a first Romney term look like, given the turning around we've seen of Mitt Romney on the campaign? I don't think we know who either of them are.
What an indictment of yourself. It says another journalist. We don't know who these guys are. Such diversity. I bet these guys don't even know anybody who voted for Romney. I'll bet none of these people know anybody. And I'll bet, but here, now add Gloria Borger to the Tom Brokaw, Charlie Rose list. They don't know who these guys are. It's your job. It's no more complicated than it's your job to find out who these people are. But notice, given the turning around we've seen of Mitt Romney on the campaign, meaning Romney's flip-flopped, he's lied, he's distorted who he really is. He's not. But what an indictment of themselves this is. Gloria Borger, you work at CNN, you've got a national cable network to tell everybody what you find out about these guys. You don't know what a second term of Obama is going to look like? What's America look like now? Now make it worse. I can tell you what a second term of Obama is going to look like. And I can damn well tell you what Romney's going to try to stop, and that's what's happening now. Gloria, do you realize that average Americans know more than you claim to know? Everybody voting against Barack Obama today knows damn well what the future holds, and that's why they're voting against him, Gloria. And everybody voting for Romney also knows what the next 4 years hold if Obama wins. Not only are they voting against that, they're voting for very specific things Romney has said he wants to accomplish. It isn't hard. It really isn't hard to understand who these two people are. One's a liberal. That's all you need to know about Barack Obama. Don't doubt me on this, folks. And here's Stephanie Cutter. This was last night on CNN, Anderson Cooper 360. He said, tell us what 3 things we should be looking for tomorrow night as a sense of which way it's going. What are you going to be looking for, Stephanie Cutter?
There has been so much early voting. You know, some states, half of the vote is in. In Colorado, it will probably be about 80%. That the early exit polls are not going to accurately reflect where the vote is. So everybody should stay calm throughout the day. Let the day go on and get to those late exit polls and take a look at where we are there.
Yeah. Exit polls, don't be alarmed. She's warning her troops not to be alarmed. So Anderson Cooper says, David Gergen said, so the first exit polls you shouldn't take it seriously as the latter exit polls?
No. We know how things work going from east to west. Virginia will be one of the early ones. Ohio, you will have a sense of what's happening in Ohio early tomorrow evening. So, I would be looking at what's happening in those states. Certainly, if we win Virginia, then that's a very good sign moving west. But, I think it's probably going to be a late night.
And don't be alarmed at what you hear in the exit polls. This is so rich because in 2004, you remember the exit polls were totally corrupt. The first two waves, the 2 p.m. and the 5 p.m. exit polls, were as corrupt as they could have been. And it signaled a John Kerry landslide. And at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Bob Schrum, who ran Kerry's campaign, walked into his office and said to Kerry, "Hey, Horseface, may I be the first to address you as Mr. President?" He said, "Hey, Horseface, can I be the first to address you as Mr. President?" It really, and then the real votes started counting, they tallied, and it showed Kerry defeated soundly. And all the libs thought that the exit polls were right and the real vote had been corrupted. The real vote didn't count. There was fraud in the exit polls, they thought. What a 180 now. Now, he said, "Horseface, can I be the first to address you as Mr. President?"
Get the digital edition of the Limbaugh Letter on your phone free for a limited time. Sign up today at rushlimbaugh.com. You're listening to the EIB Network. According to a leading authority, when presented with a problem, 95% of Americans sit on their hands while only 5% do something about it.
I thought we'd get a couple of things on the way to the party.
Yeah, grab a shopping cart.
Oh, it's stuck. I guess we'll just have to carry everything.
Let me try. There, see?
Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution.
Boy, I'm thirsty. You want a soda?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, it didn't take my $1. Well, that's okay. I can wait.
Well, try it again, like this. There you go.
If you have a friend that gives up too soon, you know what to do.
I haven't seen Bob, and it didn't start. Maybe we should call Mother.
Hey, you give up too easy. Give her another try. Why don't we listen to Rush on the way?
Who's Rush?
A guy you really gotta get to know.
Listen to Rush on the EIB Network.
I rode with my kid in the front seat to soccer practice. Does that make me a bad parent?
Yes, it does. And you would have known if you read Bad Living magazine.
There's a new study that shows people who eat red meat from cows that inhaled secondhand smoke are 3% more likely to get sick than people who don't. Should I be scared?
Yes, and that's the point of Bad Living. When you subscribe to Bad Living, you'll be reminded of all the ways you put yourself and those around you in danger every day.
I didn't even realize that my SUV was endangering other drivers and destroying the ozone hole and increasing our chances of getting hit by a giant asteroid. But since I subscribe to Bad Living, I'm afraid of almost everything, and I want everyone around me to be too.
Call now and receive the bonus pamphlet, The Top 1500 Things You Should Be Terrified About.
I called, and I'm glad I did. The first issue told me how to get rid of all the sharp objects in my home.
Call 1-800-PARANOID and receive our latest issue of Bad Living magazine, featuring 10 reasons you should be afraid to leave your home.
Thanks, Bad Living.
New at Club Gitmo, life skills training. So you can thrive on the outside when you leave our tropical retreat from Jihad.
I love my life skills training classes. When I first came to Club Gitmo, they just asked me a lot of personal questions. Now I ask the questions in class.
You'll learn all about personal finance, computer skills, how to read a wiring diagram, and improve your English to make you a lot less suspicious.
My favorite teacher is Mr. Shabazz. He has taught me to hate America even more than I thought possible. The only good cracker is a dead cracker. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power.
Life skills training, now at Club Gitmo, your tropical retreat from Jihad.
What about a whole wheat cracker? Hate all the crackers. Fight the power.
Ladies and gentlemen, a message to all
Okay, to the phones we go, as indicated and as promised. This is Jim in Central Iowa. You're up first today. Great to have you with us. Hi.
Hi, Russ. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet, sir.
Dittos to you, of course. I think nowadays we'd almost call it giga-dittos. Bigger, more. Hey, I've been listening to you this morning, as I do many mornings, and I just got off duty as a poll watcher in Central Iowa, and I just had to tell you my feelings and your feelings are pretty close together.
Let me ask you a question, Jim. Jim, what does a poll watcher watch?
Well, we actually, our primary duty, other than making sure there's no skullduggery going on that we can bring to the attention of the officials that are there recording votes, is to take the list of voters that have passed through the lines, cast their ballot, and we get a copy of that list, and we can check it off on our Republican side and see who has voted.
Okay, so you can get an idea what the party turnout is.
Yeah, exactly.
Because same at my polling place. I mean, they know. Oh, no, wait a second now. Wait a second. Forgive me, I may be totally naive. Does the registration that you have in front of you that indicates somebody shows up, yeah, that's who they are, does it say they're Republican or Democrat?
No, they don't. But
okay, then how do you know Republican? How do you know the Republican turnout is up where you are?
I go to my list provided to me by our county Republican people that are registered Republicans, and the state verifies it for us through the Republican Party. And we check against the list of people that have voted. And they say, oh, I've got that name. I check it off. I don't have that or that. Oh, I've got that one. And here's my tally from the first 2 hours of pretty good voting for this time of the morning. At 7 in the morning, and it's kind of rainy and dreary. It was anyway. I had recorded on the second precinct 78 total voters coming through the line, recording a vote. I found 32 of those 78 on that list were registered Republicans. I could verify that much. I don't know how they voted, of course.
That's less than 50%.
Well, a little bit less than 50%, but then if you sit and look at the person across from me who's doing it, same thing I'm doing for the Democratic Party, they had a mere handful. I believe she said it was 7.
Well, wait a minute. You got 78. Hold it a minute. 78 people, 38 Republicans and 7 Democrats. Who are the others?
32. 32 registered Republicans went through the line out of that 78.
Right.
And 7 or 8 Democrats were identified by her sitting
okay, that's 45 people out of 78.
Right. And you know who the others are? Independents.
Okay, and you don't know how they're voting.
No, we certainly don't. But if we're doing our job right here in Central Iowa, we've contacted them and we've sent them information. We've followed up on the absentee ballot list.
Okay, so in his little corner of the world, it's 38-7. Republicans over Democrats, the rest independents. Thanks, that. We'll be back. Don't go away.
And now, Andy Griffith for Obamacare.
1965. A lot of good things came out that year, like Medicare. And now we got us Obamacare. And this year, just like always, you're going to have your guaranteed benefits right up until the time you get sick. So all you old angry white folks out there joining the tea parties and protesting and all, just calm down and be a good cracker. Good cracker. Tell them the new rules, Barney. Well, you see, it's like this. Here in Washington, everybody has to play by the rules. And we've developed a rule book just for you there at home. 62,528 new rules to help you through the process of healthcare in an orderly, organized fashion. Rule number 1. There are no peanut butter and jelly sandwiches allowed in any hospital day or night, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Rule number 2. If any named insured of a qualified plan gets sick, he or she must fill out request form 24/7.
For more information on Obamacare and how it affects those 65 and older, just get sick and you'll find out. Like today's news?
No.
Want stories that always agree with you?
Yes.
Then change reality with Reuters' new do-it-yourself news computer software. It's the fast, easy, fun way to get any headline you want. Just left-click and open Fast Report or Photo Doctor, and you're on your way. Show your creative side. Report from places you've never been.
I have pictures.
With pictures you never took, like Amal Abdullah with Hezbollah.
Before Reuters, we were losing the war with Israel. Now we are invading Tel Aviv, riding unicorns in the snow. I have pictures.
With Reuters Do-It-Yourself News, you'll report around the world from just around the corner. It's the fast, easy, fun way to change public opinion. Now with Reuters Do-It-Yourself News software, anybody, anywhere can say,
I have pictures.
And now, a sad story of hard times from Sharpton and Jackson.
The Justice Brothers.
Times are hard out there. We know from experience.
Recently, my Escalade rental was stripped. Rims, radio, and reclining bucket seats.
And while everybody's talking about a double dip, we got a triple scoop recession at the National Action Network.
We both need a stimulus now more than ever.
And a payroll tax holiday.
Payroll tax holiday?
Yeah, retroactive to the second quarter of 1998.
But no matter how bad it gets, we both have each other to lean on.
That's what being a justice brother is all about. I help you, and you help me.
That's right.
You want to buy a raffle ticket?
Well, let me see.
Oh, you don't want to look at that.
First prize, dinner with Al Sharpton, he pays. Second prize, dinner with Al Sharpton, you pay. Third prize, selected auto parts. Hey, wait a minute. Those are my rims. Come back here, you hustler. You just think these are bad times. I'm going to give you a really bad time.
I didn't know it was from your escapade. Times are hard.
Love and togetherness through thick and thin. Sharpton and Jackson, the Justice Brothers.
You know what, folks? I'm going to tell you another little theory that I have. I can't prove it. I can't document it. But there's a whole bunch of independents out there now, right? This last guy from Iowa, in his poll so far, 78 people showed. It's not a big number, but the breakdown is interesting. 38 Republicans out of 78 voters, 7 Democrats, and the rest are independents. And in all of these polls, we got Romney up double-digit in independents in many of them, and the high single digits in others. And my theory is that the independents of today are actually made up of a lot of Republicans, former Republicans, who for whatever reason signed off of Republican registration. Could have been mad at something the party did, not raising money, not being conservative enough after they got elected. It could be any number of things. Could be to protect themselves with pollsters and everybody else. And it's much safer as an independent. And as an independent, you are highly valued. You know, independents make the world go round. And independents as opposed to moderates. Moderates and independents are two different things. A moderate's nothing more than a liberal without the guts to say so. But I think a lot of these independents today are ex-Republicans. Can't prove it. Just one of these gut feelings that I've got. Now, speaking of poll watchers, in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Inquirer, there are two things. What's happened in Philadelphia, the new Black Panthers showed up again. And they've got every right to be there and do what they did last election because Eric Holder dropped the investigation into them. So they got billy clubs. They can intimidate voters. Eric Holder dropped the case from the 2008 election. So the new Black Panthers have shown up in various parts of Philadelphia. In addition to that, the Philadelphia Inquirer is reporting that Republican polling inspectors, who are court-appointed election officials, reportedly being thrown out by the head judges of elections who are elected Democrats in some areas around Philadelphia. The Romney campaign is reporting that 75 Republican poll watchers have been barred from precinct polling places in Philadelphia, in some cases barred by Democrats, saying no Republicans will be allowed in the polling place. Now, what's happened is that the GOP has gone to court. They got a court order from the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas requiring the Republicans to be readmitted to the polls and seated per their legal authority. A Pennsylvania judge did issue an order to reinstate the Republican election officials across Philadelphia who were earlier today ejected or refused entry. But who knows what shenanigans took place after they were thrown out? It is Philadelphia. That's why the Philadelphia suburbs, Bucks County et al., are so important today, because the fix is in Philadelphia, the city. There's, whether Obama is in trouble or not, whether Pennsylvania is in play or not, Philadelphia is what it is. This would have happened probably regardless, but it may not have happened with as much intensity or in such great numbers. It may not have resulted in as many Republican inspectors being refused admittance. But, this is just machine power politics. It's just the same kind of stuff goes on in Chicago. It's democracy. It's democracy. Now back to the audio soundbites. One more, Stephanie Cutter. Anderson Cooper, 360 last night. He said to her, your team keeps saying that Governor Romney is in Pennsylvania now out of desperation. He's got no shot there. If he's got no shot, why has your campaign been sending Clinton to Pennsylvania in the home stretch? Why are you wasting time going in there if Romney has no shot? If the state's not in play, couldn't that time that Clinton's spending in Pennsylvania be put to better use somewhere else?
We're not taking anything for granted, Anderson. Pennsylvania has tightened, absolutely. If I were working on the Romney campaign, I'd probably be giving it a shot, too.
I don't know whether to believe this woman or not. That's my problem with this. This woman's delusional. This Stephanie Cutter babe, she is delusional. She said weird cockamamie things throughout this campaign, but here she says it has tightened, absolutely. If I were working on the Romney campaign, I'd probably be giving it a shot. I have no idea if she's being truthful there. No, I take that back. She probably is, because I think it is tightening in Pennsylvania. I think that is genuine. And it is interesting. Clinton is going in there. And Clinton's got one stock line now. Why would you want to elect the president knowing they lie to you? Is that what you want? Would you want to elect a president that's going to lie to you all the time? It's as delusional as Obama yesterday. That soundbite we had of Obama yesterday. The deficit's down. Job creation is up. We've lowered the deficit. We've lowered the national. It was delusional. It was out of this world sick. What Obama said about the economy in these past 4 years. It had no connection to reality whatsoever. It was Stephanie Cutter, by the way, who first called Romney a felon. And this is funny. This is Bob Shrum. I told you about him earlier. Bob Shrum is the guy in 2004, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, went into John Kerry's office and said, hey, Horseface, may I be the first to address you as Mr. President? Because they all believed the exit polls in 2004. They all thought the exit polls showed Kerry landslide. So this morning on CNN Starting Point, he gets a question here from somebody named Hillary Rosen. She's co-guest. She said, everybody remembers around lunchtime in 2004, we got those awful exit polls saying essentially Kerry is going to be elected And we had a couple of hours of euphoria until the actual votes started being counted. Since that time, exit polling has actually changed, and the distribution of those polls has totally changed. Now, tell your big picture perspective here, Bob, for a minute, on how you think the polls have affected expectations here. Why is this different, and why is it better now?
I anticipate that on Drudge, we'll see some early exit polls that favor Romney because that's what you see on Drudge. Polling itself has now become a weapon in campaigns. So you have all of these enterprises none of us ever heard of before this year who are putting poll numbers out there, many of them outliers in these states, and they ought to simply be dismissed. But I think it goes to the theory that Republicans have especially, that if you say you're doing well, you're going to do well.
This is from the guy who was out buying into the exit polls in 2004. This is delusional as well. Not that it means anything, but here's a guy who couldn't wait to believe the exit polls, now saying that it's Republicans who say if you're doing well, you're going to do well. In other words, it's Republicans who will lie to you about how great things are going in order to make you think they're going well so that you'll vote that way. He said polling has now become a weapon. The polling is the best friend Obama's got in this campaign. Where would Obama be without this poll? These polls. Where would he be without these polls? Stop and think of that. If Schrump's wish came true, and if the polls were outlawed, and if there weren't any, where do you think this election would be? I maintain to you that the only thing that's kept Obama in this is the polls. That's the only thing that's given anybody any belief that he has a chance. Because in the real world, this guy has been thrown out already. It happened in 2010. This guy already has been rejected. The American people have already said no mas to this guy. And yet the polling shows him winning, and so everybody has to accept it. But without the polls, where would Obama be? I'm not kidding about that. In fact, this dovetails into a note that I got from a good friend of mine. This is a fascinating little think piece. He lives in Kansas City. He's fed up with all the ads on TV. He's just fed up with it. His Romney sign was defaced. Cow manure was thrown all over it and underneath it on his yard. He says, I'm getting real tired of all the ads. I can't wait till tomorrow, and I hope your prediction is right. But here's my idea. Let's just flip a coin. If the Republicans win, they get to select the half of the country they want, and the Democrats get the other half. Is split this country right down the middle. Republicans pick the side they want. The Democrats get the other side. We have Mitt. They have Obama. You can live wherever you want to live. You choose which side you want to live in. And he said, the question is, how long would it be before Democrats are building tunnels to get underneath the wall, keeping them out of the Republican side? Stop and think of this. It's a great illustration. You split the country right now, right down the Mississippi River. And let's just say the Republicans get the left half of the country, and then they build a wall. Mississippi River's not a moat. It's just you build a wall there. And the Democrats get everything on the east, and we get everything on the west. Flip, it doesn't matter. We get our ways of life on our side. They get their ways of life. How long will it be before all those Democrats are trying to get over to our side? How long will it? We'd have to have checkpoints. We'd have to shoot them on sight if they're trying to get into our side of the country. Just like in the old East and West Germany days. Stop and think of that. It would make a great book talking about one side, comparing the two. It'd be a great movie showing where certain companies chose to live, where certain people chose to live, how they chose to run their businesses, how they chose to manage their affairs. On one half of the country, you'd have a welfare state. And on the other half, you'd have prosperity and good times and all that. And where would people want to end up? Now, do we already who would pay for their welfare quickly? The Democrat half of the country would cease to exist in 2 weeks. There'd be nobody to pay for their way of life. The Democrat half of the country would become barren and desert, and there would be no life. There'd be nothing there. And they'd all be scrambling to get to our side of the country. It's a great way, I think, to illustrate what the election's about. Anyway, I'll take a break. Back after this. Don't go away.
Resistance is futile. Rush on the EIB network. A silent epidemic is sweeping the Democratic Party. Bird brain flu. Its symptoms are unmistakable. There's memory loss.
You say you don't support the war in Iraq now, but you voted for it.
I don't remember that.
Double standard vision.
Scooter Libby lied to a grand jury. You didn't complain when Bill Clinton did it. Yeah, but that was different.
And delusions.
We won the governor's race in New Jersey and Virginia. America's really behind us. We're going to kick butt in 06.
Wow, I feel better now.
And hysteria.
Global warming is melting the polar ice caps. Baby seals are dying.
Bird brain flu affects liberals in the prime of their lives. But there is a cure. Education. Instead of reading a bumper sticker, try picking up a book. Turn off the liberal media and tune into the Rush Limbaugh program.
I was really stuck on stupid, but I feel better now.
Inoculate yourself against bird brain flu. Listen to the Rush Limbaugh radio program. A public service message from the EIB network. And now, a message from the President of the United States.
My fellow Americans, in tough economic times like these, you should not go to Las Vegas and blow all your cash to have fun. Come to where the real action is. Washington, D.C. Why pull a lever on a slot machine when you can take a chance and roll the dice on 1/6 of the economy with national health care? Double down on stimulus spending and win big money for your friends back home. Or if you're a really high roller like me, scare the banks and raise taxes right in the middle of a recession. Come on, 7. Crapped out again. But believe me, you can't lose when you're playing with other people's money. Give me another trillion. Make that 2. And they have great accommodations and food. You can have Kobe beef every night if you want. And when you leave Washington, they comp you with a fat pension and health care that's out of this world.
Travel provided by Pelosi Airlines. Catch an all-you-can-drink flight anytime you like, 24/7.
So what are you waiting for? Come to where the real action is. Washington, D.C. And leave Las Vegas behind.
Oh, it's so easy to love Dancer and Prancer, Donner and Blitzen, Vixen, and especially Rudolph. You know, Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. But what about the other side of the reindeer family? The caribou. The caribou get no cute song, no cuddly cartoons, no Christmas specials. The caribou, they have to fend for themselves in the frozen tundra, uncared for by the liberals. It's the truth be known. It's the conservatives who love the caribou. It's the conservatives who care for the caribou, who want to see the caribou go forth and multiply. Conservatives for Caribou is a non-profit organization dedicated to increasing the caribou population. We can double, we can triple the caribou in the frozen tundra, but we need your help, not your money, your support. It'll take a pipeline to double the caribou population. Conservatives for Caribou want that pipeline. Daschle Democrats don't. Call Tom Daschle. Tell him to drop the petty politics. Let the caribou go forth and multiply. Support Anwar for the caribou. And now a message from the National Institute.
Back to the phones we go to Dave. This is Albany, New York. Great to have you on the program, Dave. Hello.
Hello, Rush. Absentee military ballot dittos to you.
Thank you, sir, very much.
I'm calling because I'd love to bring up something that kind of came up last night as we're watching the news. My very young teenage daughter, myself and my wife were watching TV, and a clip of former President Clinton doing his closing argument for the campaign effort was put on. And wasn't it interesting? But it was one of those lighter moments when he had the crowd laughing, and he said, "You're laughing, but who wants a president who will knowingly, repeatedly tell you something he knows is not true?" And my daughter immediately said to me, "Isn't he the man that was impeached for that?" And while that was sinking in, I also immediately thought of, well, we were told how many times that Benghazi was due to a video?
Well,
what an incredible moment in political history.
I know. It's otherworldly.
I mean, I'm a father of 5, and I look at the most important thing I'll ever hand off to my children. You know, my wife, by the way, is the biggest hero of all. She homeschools them, it's amazing the job she does. But the legacy of truth, of honor, of integrity, I want to be able to point to all of my political leadership, and I know I won't be able to all the time. I get that. When you look at something at this important, when my teenage daughter can instantly see that what he's talking about is just passing off as a lie for the purposes of political gain.
Well, but here's the thing about that. I mean, as you point out here, Bill Clinton, who was he was convicted of perjury and obstruction of justice. He was disbarred. He lost his law license for a while. He suborned perjury as well. And now he's chiding Romney for lying. And what he's saying Romney's lying about, he says Romney lied in an ad, which is completely and totally accurate about Chrysler building Jeeps in China. Romney is not lying about, as you point out, the lying is coming from the regime, from Obama. And Clinton wrote the book on it. Clinton lied so much in the 1990s, the media was doing stories on how lying was good for everybody, how lying was helpful. It spared people hurt feelings. Dave, thanks for the call. Here's the soundbite from Ohio, but Clinton's using it everywhere, Virginia, Pennsylvania. This is yesterday afternoon in Philadelphia. It's an Obama campaign event, and this is the relevant portion of Clinton's remarks.
Who wants a president that will knowingly, repeatedly tell you something that he knows is not true? And when all this happened, they put it on television. They ran an ad. And the more they were criticized, the more they upped the ad buy. When I was a kid, if I got my hand caught in a cookie jar where it wasn't supposed to be, I turned red in the face and I took my hand out of the cookie jar.
That's not what you did.
You got to give it to Governor Romney. When he gets his hand caught in the cookie jar, he just digs down for more cookies.
I tell you, really. Now that's inspiring. You know, it's going to really make me vote for Obama. When Bill Clinton, when his hand was caught in a cookie jar, he said to Juanita Broderick, you might want to put some ice on your lip. The cookie jar. Bill Clinton talking about the cookie jar. Bill Clinton is the guy that took the cookie jar to the back of his El Camino that had AstroTurf in it. For one reason. But Romney is not lying in this ad about Chrysler making Jeeps over there in China. So all this time I've been thinking the war on women was about vaginas. Obviously it's about cookie jars.
How does he squeeze all this stuff in just 3 hours a day? Rush on the EIB network. For centuries, third world women have known the secrets of washing their clothes with materials that are close at hand. The Jupiter 3000 embraces this technology and uses only a half of a cup of water per load. The new Jupiter 3000 from General Eclectic.
So, like, how does it work?
Simply put 50 pounds of small pebbles into this hopper.
That's heavy.
Then crank this handle for 30 minutes per pound of laundry.
And it gets clothes cleaner than any other brand?
We can't make that claim, but it does use less water than any other washer on the market today.
So my clothes will smell the same?
Since the Jupiter 3000 uses only a half of cup of water and no detergent, your laundry will smell the same as it did when it went in.
Cool.
Act now and will include a gallon of chemical-free spring water, enough to do the laundry for 6 months for a family of 4. The Jupiter 3000, retro technology from General Eclectic. Look for the EW seal of approval.
If you got a hankering for something a little bit on the wild side for dinner tonight, then you need to check out Girl Cafeteria. Girl Cafeteria, where you choose your favorite critter from our tank. Let us serve it up any way you like it. Then, while you enjoy your meal, we'll fashion its pelt into any one of a number of designer items. You might try our delicious raccoon-a-roni, or how about a nice hot bowl of chin chili?
I just had the muskrat. Delicious. And I got this great pair of gloves.
My kids and I had the turtellini. Got an entire set of neat salad bowls.
And if you like your critter really fresh, you might try our convenient drive-thru.
It's all right, honey. Just eat around the tire track.
And the kids are sure to love Gurf Cafeteria.
Hey, Billy, how's that possum?
Awesome.
Gurf Cafeteria. You choose it, we kill it. You wear it home. Next to the animal shelter on Highway 92. If you're looking for the real south of the border experience, then sneak into Los Aligalos and place your order today.
Welcome to Los Aligalos. Can I take your order?
Yes, I want free health care, a job, I want to protest in the streets, and I want the entire Southwest U.S. returned to its rightful owner, Mexico.
Are you here legally?
That's none of your business.
And right now at Los Aligalos, you can try our new chicken soft border taco. With a tortilla so thin, you can see right through it. No ID, no problem. In the country illegally, no problem. Just cut in line in front of everyone else.
Jace, I'd like a La Raza tostada.
Hey, I've been waiting in line here for 10 years.
Hey, tell that to Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi.
Bring the whole gang to Los Aligalos and order our MS-13 special. Order a dozen tacos and we'll throw in one free.
Viva Los Aligalos!
Wear your American flag t-shirt inside out and get a free entry.
That's entree?
Oh, yeah. Now open 24 hours in all border states. Arizona is subject to change. What could be worse than a dirty renegade?
You know, it's amazing. I hear Clinton's voice is very hoarse. Do you notice that? And Obama is, his voice is hoarse and very tired. And Romney's is not. And Romney's been out there every bit as much as these two guys are. It's I don't know, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a contrast. But regardless, folks, we're here in the midst of a turnout election. Really, it's a cliche to say it, but it's exactly where we are. Turnout is going to determine this. And don't let what you're hearing, pro or con, from anybody, affect your decision to go out and vote. If you haven't yet, just make sure you do.
Attention EIP affiliates. Stand by for the Rush Limbaugh promo feed.
Copyright 2012.
EIP Network.
Start all recording devices in 3, 2, 1.
Now.
Rush Limbaugh.
It's the Rush Limbaugh radio program for the best post-election coverage.
Everybody's asking me, what do you know? Well, I'm just telling you what I know.
For what happened and why.
It's as though you had a direct line to me.
You'll want to hear it directly from Rush Limbaugh.
I wonder what Rush knows that we don't. I'm telling you. Everything I find out, I'm passing on. Good, bad, indifferent, what have you. And mixed in with my own invaluable opinion. Everybody's asking me, what do you know? Well, I'm just telling you what I know. It's as though you had a direct line to me. I wonder what Rush knows that we don't. I'm telling you. Everything I find out, I'm passing on. Good, bad, indifferent, what have you. And mixed in with my own invaluable opinion.
When the delegates from the colonies met in Philadelphia to debate the Declaration of Independence, what if moderates had been running that show?
Rush.
Would they have cautioned against fighting the Brits? Would they have urged removing references to God in the document? Freedom and liberty are under attack right in front of our eyes. It's not even hidden or subtle, and we're being told to embrace moderation.
This concludes the promo feed. Production directors everywhere. Be with us next time as we make your life easier on the EIB network.
Now from Clinton campaign headquarters, an important message for all Democrats.
My fellow Americans, your right to vote is a precious thing. And like you, I believe every vote should count. This historic Democratic primary contest is a test of our party's commitment to count all the votes in Michigan and Florida. And that's why my good friend Al Gore Jr. is here with us today to remind everyone of his experience in the 2000 presidential election.
I thought we were going to discuss the endangered tassel-chested penguin.
Sure, later. Now, you believe that every vote should count twice in the Florida primary, since they were disenfranchised by the process in the 2000 election.
Well, this isn't exactly just like the, you see, the most recent party rules state that, if you don't right. Every vote should count twice in Florida. And, of course, Hillary is the obvious winner. Obama should drop out today.
Thank you, Albert Gore Jr., for your honest opinion on such an important matter.
Bill, that wasn't fair. She was threatening to bite off that penguin's...
Yeah, I know. But she'll do whatever it takes. Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Are things too bad to be true? A miraculous message of job creation from President Barack Obama.
Well, the jobs numbers are in, and it's a miracle. An absolute miracle. At a time when Ben Bernanke was worried about slowing growth and falling GDP, I created more jobs and lowered the unemployment rate to 7.8% right before the election. 114,000 jobs in September alone. To understand just how big that is, that's 37.6 jobs per county. 5.8 jobs for each incorporated city. And these aren't your traditional 9-to-5, boring, steady, single-occupation jobs with no room to explore all your other talents. These are part-time positions, so now you can waitress a little at night, stock store shelves on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and cut yards and clean gutters on the weekends because of what I've done for you here in Washington. We've come too far to go back. And besides, I don't know the way back anyhow.
Vote for President Obama and relive this amazing miracle for the next 4 years.
Hit the road, Barack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Barack, and don't you come back no more.
What'd you say?
Hit the road, Barack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Barack, and don't you come back no more.
American people, don't you treat me so mean. You're the meanest old people that I've ever seen. So it's off to India I go. I'm gonna leave your butt with Joe.
Just go, hit the road, Barack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Barack, and don't you come back no more.
What'd you say?
Hit the road, Barack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Barack, and don't you come back no more.
People, oh people, better watch what you say, 'cause I'll be back in the States someday.
Don't care if you do, 'cause it's understood. You spend too much, your ideas are no good.
I guess if you say so, I only got 2 more years to go.
That's right, hit the road, Barack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Barack, and don't you come back no more.
Well,
don't you come back no more.
It wasn't my policy.
And don't you come back no more.
We just had a communication problem.
Come back no more.
You can't mean that.
Don't you come back no more.
Let us back in the house.
Don't you come back no more.
Please?
And don't you come back no more.
Pretty please?
Don't you come back no more.
Come on.
Don't you come back no more.
What's the matter with you?
Don't you come back no more.
Rasmussen says he has no idea. It's still too close to call. He has no clue. First time in his career as a pollster, he has no idea what's going to happen in the election. And I think I think that's probably true. I think none of the pollsters have any idea what's going to happen, which is why all these polls show it tied within the margin of error. Nobody knows. And in fact, it is rare that anybody knows before an election what's going to happen. I mean, there are very few times that circumstances are such that you just know. 64 was one of those times. 1980. I mean, the electorate's a different demographic makeup and all that than 1980. But 1980, nobody knew it was that. You remember that Reagan landslide, 1980? I'll never forget that. Jimmy Carter conceded before the California polls were closed. And in the polling of that election in 1980, nobody knew. They had it toss up. Some even had Carter ahead. Now, there weren't nearly as many polls back then. There weren't nearly as many polls as often back then. And much different voter demographic, ethnic makeup, so forth. Entirely different. Still, the parallels are fascinating, nevertheless, just for the sake of discussion. Great to have you back with us here, folks. El Rushbo, serving humanity simply by being here. Our telephone number, 800-282-2882. And the email address, so we do check them. Sometimes I even read them, is elrushbo@eibnet.com. They have no clue. Although I should say, Dan Rather was on MSNBC this morning. He was on with Joe Scarborough. And Dan Rather said that he thinks Mitt Romney is going to have a very good day today. I don't know anybody else in the lib media saying that. Romney does look... What do you mean Romney looks good? Oh, I'm told that Romney looks good. He doesn't look nervous, doesn't look worn out. You know, Obama showed up at Chicago. He went to one of his campaign offices, stopped in there on his way home. Hey, here's another thing. I've mentioned the blog Hillbuzz to you before, and I check it occasionally. Kevin Dujan, if I'm pronouncing that right, runs that blog. I remember when I first heard about him, I thought it was a bunch of women for Hillary, but it's a guy who was for Hillary. And he became a big fan of this program during Operation Chaos. But he pointed out a couple weeks ago that, Obama did not book Grant Park for tonight for his election night address to the troops. Grant Park was where he held his election night celebration in 2008. Obama has booked McCormick Place in Chicago, which reputedly, it's not the most accessible place in the world. It's not the easiest place in the world to get to. And it's on the lakefront, but I don't know why it's not easy to get to. But it certainly is not as accessible as Grant Park. But they didn't apply for permits and permission, Grant Park, ever, at any time. And some people are reading into that the Obama camp figures it's going to lose. You book McCormick Place where not nearly as many people can get in. Hey, folks, I'm just sharing you want to know what I'm hearing. I'm telling you. I'm not attaching any weight to any of this. I'm not predicting an outcome here subtly or openly in any way. I'm just telling you what I hear. I mean, everybody emails, Rush, what are you hearing? Have you got any exit polls yet? When I hear stuff, I'll tell you. Obama goes into his campaign office and he makes phone calls. He sits down, he gets a nice round of applause from his own campaign team, which makes sense. They're all jazzed in there. And he starts calling voters, trying to get out of the vote drive. And the first woman he calls doesn't know who he is. Or doesn't believe it's him, one of the two. So he's laughing and chatting with her. What? When do I find out the early voting trends? I'm on the tail end of finding that stuff out. I other people have to find out and then shovel it to me. So probably 5 o'clock is when I'll hear something. That's when it was last year. Or 2008 is when it was. And the same thing in 2004. So 2004, actually, there was a wave that was released before the program ended. And it was bad for Bush. It was really bad for Bush. And I'd have to go back. I think I mentioned, maybe I didn't mention the 2 o'clock wave because I didn't want to depress anybody. But I don't think I did mention it, but I remember I didn't believe it. I do remember, yeah, that's what it was. I didn't tell you that I had the 2 o'clock wave and it was disastrous for Bush. Folks, it was, and I was debating whether or not to mention it. And then after a while, I said, even if Bush is going to lose, it ain't like this. This just doesn't make any sense. And it turned out that the exit poll wave at 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock, both of them, were dead wrong. Yes, I'm not holding back anything now. I haven't heard anything. And I'll tell you this. Not only that, we learned about the exit polls. We learned that they were fraudulently taken. We learned that the exit pollsters were sort of like interns that were hired. There's only one company that does exit polls for every network. The networks don't do them individually. Just one outfit. I don't remember who it is. Well, I'll tell you this. I have heard, and it's secondhand. It's from a friend, but the toughest part of my life is weeding through the BS. As everybody tells me stuff is good intentions. They want to help, but it's like the guy who called from Iowa. Hey, I got big news here, man. The Republican turnout itself in the room. Really? How many? 38. Oh. But to him, that's big news. 38 Republicans, 7 Democrats in his polling place. Percentage-wise, it was big. But you can't extrapolate anything from that. It doesn't mean anything. You got to be very careful. So I have to sift through everything everybody tells me. So I got a little blurb this morning. I don't even know whether it's true. So that's why I didn't make a big deal out of telling you. In fact, I don't think it is. It doesn't sound believable at all. But the person who told me to it swears by it. It is simply this, that the exit poll firm, there's a guy who's been hired, and he told a friend of a friend that he has been ordered not to interview any white elderly people when he does his exit polls. Okay, so that would mean that whoever's doing the exit polls wants a rigged result to use before the polls have closed to affect. There's so much of this kind of stuff happens on Election Day, and I have so much of it flowing in here that the best thing to do is believe none of it, and then make note of it. And then go back after the fact and see if any of it was true so that you can make some value judgment for the future. For example, Obama finishes last night in tears in a half-empty arena. Now, what does that mean to you? What does it mean? In terms of the election, because somebody just said to me, it was HR. Yeah, Romney really looks good. So what does that mean? Well, he doesn't look nervous. He looks really happy. Oh, okay. From that, we infer that Romney knows he's winning. No, we don't know that. I don't know that Romney knows he's winning. He may. I have the slightest idea. But then Obama, no voice. Clinton, no voice. Clinton saying odd stuff like, you want to elect a guy that lies to you all the time? Well, then keep voting Obama. He finishes before a half-empty arena in tears, crying. Is it because It's his last election. Here, folks, I put together here at the top of my stack, just to show you. Here, the fired up crowd, empty seats, greet Obama in Ohio. That's some real clear politics. Tearful Obama ends campaign in Iowa. Ended his campaign by crying, but if you remember, it worked for Hillary. Crying worked for Hillary. It's how she won the New Hampshire primary in 2008. So maybe Bill's telling Obama to cry. He's crying because he knows he's losing. It's his last campaign. Michelle is talking about how it's the last campaign. And then there are a couple of other stories from the drive-bys that if you lose control, you can tell yourself that they are setting the stage for an Obama defeat. Obama, not so happy warrior. That's one headline. It's Politico, if Obama loses, why? There are stories to explain why Obama lost, already out there. And then Obama, not so happy warrior. Barack Obama's enthusiasm gap began at home. There's a surprisingly simple explanation for Obama's up and down performance as a candidate. For the lackluster TV appearances, for that epic flip-flop October 3rd and the November debate stage that might yet cost him the presidency. If Obama loses, who is to blame? That's a headline. And some of that stuff's from Politico. Then in the next one, it's New York Times. A president's last race, win or lose. And here's the last couple of paragraphs. The president did not contemplate the possibility of defeat, but said he and his family would be fine, no matter what the outcome. Well, we've heard that 2 or 3 times. He said, whatever happens, Michelle and I'll be fine. The Obama Center for Social Justice in Hawaii. He's not a nervous man, but even his famous cool may be challenged on Tuesday night. For the prop, it's all over but the waiting, while Mr. Pluff makes some phone calls and bothers some more people. That's how the New York Times story ends. And then there was Stephanie Cutter. Don't panic over the early exit polls. Don't get yourself into any trouble. So if you look, you can find evidence, and you got to get it, Dan Rather. Romney's going to have a good day. And by the way, grab somebody 12 hours, A.B. Stoddard, of thehill.com. She was on Greta last night. Greta Van Susteren. I think it's one of the hardest working women in TV, by the way. Greta Van Susteren, speaking with the Hill editor or columnist A.B. Stoddard about the presidential race. Greta said Dick Morris, Karl Rove, Newt Gingrich, Michael Barone, Rush Limbaugh say Romney going to win, and they give it by pretty sizable margins. What would you say to them, A.B.?
I think that they could be right. I think Romney can win small, and he can win very big. I think if President Obama wins, he ekes it out with a small margin. But I think it's entirely possible that the Republicans are right and that the electorate, the model that the Democrats are looking at is not correct, and that Romney not only wins, but wins big. I also think there's a very good chance, if you look at all those states we're talking about where it's so tight, that he wins small.
So she sees 3 outcomes. By the way, which is an echo of Mark Halpern, Time Magazine, 2 weeks ago. 3 outcomes: Romney wins big or small, or Obama wins small. So my point is, whatever you want to believe, you can find it out there. If you want to believe Romney's toast, you can go find it. If you want to believe Romney's winning and it's going to be a secret big you can find it. If you want to read that the exit polls are corrupt, you can find that. I'm hearing it all. Now I have to take a brief obscene profit time out, my friends. Sit tight. We'll be back with more right after this.
Get the most outrageous Obama parodies ever on Paul Shanklin's new hilarious CD, You Didn't Build That. Available only at paulshanklin.com. That's Paul, SHANKLIN.com.
Hey, he didn't build that!
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Now, an urgent message from Albert Gore Jr.
My fellow environmentalist,
Recently, my purchase of carbon credits from a company I own to offset my personal carbon footprint has caused some to question my true beliefs in the cause of global warming. Rest assured that any profits from the credits I purchase to offset my energy use will be used toward the purchase of more energy, which will require me to purchase even more carbon credits. My computer models have shown this synergistic approach will cool the Earth 0.65 degrees by the year 2068. But to do it even faster, I need your help.
To help cool the Earth even faster, send a donation to the Albert Gore Jr. Utility Fund today and help Al purchase even more energy and more credits.
It's like the circle of life.
Are you looking for a totally healthy choice in fast food? Then drive into the all-new Bun and Run.
Welcome to Bun and Run. May I take your order, please?
Yeah, I want a double with cheese, chili, and onion.
We don't have that, sir.
What about chicken nuggets?
No.
Sausage nuggets? Bacon nuggets?
We don't have them.
And ordering is simple at Bun and Run. We serve nothing but the finest whole grain buns with nothing inside.
Hello, I'm Sidney Klopp, founder of Bun and Run. My lawyer said this concept would limit our liability. I hope you enjoy my buns.
So for a healthy, satisfying meal, try our new Bun and Run today.
Okay, I'll just have the bun and some mayo.
We don't serve mayonnaise.
At Bun and Run, we serve just the bun with no unhealthy fillers. And you can have it your way, toasted or untoasted. Bun and Run, the healthiest fast food on the planet.
Nothing but the bun.
Bun and Run. Franchises available.
Hey, Bob. Cute car.
Yeah, it's my new 2014 Ford Excuse 4x4, limited edition. The first 4x4 to meet the new mileage standard. 37 miles to the gallon.
Ooh, limited edition, huh?
Yeah, they only made 3 this year to keep up with the demand.
Kind of small, don't you think?
Well, yeah, but it does get 37 miles to the gallon. Hey, careful. Don't lean on it too hard. The sheet metal's kind of thin.
Ooh, sorry. Let's go for a ride. Kind of tight in here.
Yeah, but my Ford Excuse gets...
Well, I know, 37 miles to the gallon. What is that?
The optional Briggs & Stratton V2 engine. Only 12 horsepower. But it does get...
I know. 37 miles per gallon. Can you tow anything?
No.
Carry any cargo?
Well, but it does get 37 miles per gallon. You want to go for a drive around the block?
Oh, I don't know. What time is it?
3 o'clock.
Will we be back in time for dinner?
Good question.
The 2014 Ford Excuse 4x4. The future is coming. Now a message from President Barack.
The most dangerous man in America, Rush Limbaugh, serving humanity with half my brain tied behind my back. Just to make it fair. Here's Tim in Champaign, Illinois. I'm glad you called, sir. Great to have you on the EIB network. Hello.
Sir, it's an honor. I just wanted to call and thank you. About 3 years ago, I found you, and you kind of opened my mind and educated me on the whole process. I was a Democrat. Since I was able to vote, I voted for Gore, Kerry, and I am sorry about this, but I voted for Obama. But today I want to say that I'm proud, and I voted for Mitt Romney.
Well, that's encouraging news. Why were you a Democrat? There's no wrong answer here. I'm curious. What was it?
I grew up in a Democratic family. I grew up in Chicago. My mom worked for Democrats. She worked for a couple aldermen out there, mayor, and just kind of got brainwashed with the whole Democratic Party thing, that the Republicans were for the rich and they were the boogeyman, and et cetera, et cetera. And I kind of fell into that trap that, you were the boogeyman, not to listen to you. And, in 2008 when I voted for Obama, I kind of fell into that whole...
Were you listening? Let me ask you, I don't mean to make this about me, but I'm genuinely curious from a professional reason. Were you listening to me in 2008?
Kind of on and off, not too much. I didn't give you too much credit or whatnot. I believed the whole Democrat thing, that you were a bad man.
When you did hear me in 2008 during the campaign, critical of Obama and warning about Obama, you just ignored it, rejected it, or thought that I was full of it, something like that?
pretty much the whole thing. I just rejected the whole thing. I was like, Obama's a good man. He's going to give us hope and change, etc. I voted for him, and after about a year,
And you were mad at me for not seeing that about Obama? Were you mad at me that I was saying such?
I wasn't mad. To each his own. It was your own opinion. I just ignored it. I thought you were completely wrong. Like I said, I was brainwashed. So I was in that Obama, phase where he's the greatest man.
What was it that I said? And I'm not trying to make this about me. There are professional reasons for asking this. What was it I said that reached you?
Basically, you started telling the truth, and I started realizing, hey, you're not lying.
But I always was telling the truth.
Yeah, I understand.
What made you start hearing it?
Just a lot of the actions that Obama was doing, after he got voted in, everything he was doing, and then it coincided.
Okay, so this is important. I didn't talk you out of anything. Obama exposed himself as the fraud.
True. But then I just,
this is why I was asking. I didn't talk you out of anything. You eventually, Obama was not what he was said to be. He was not what he said he was going to be. He was not what the media said he was going to be. And you saw that.
Yeah, and the bad thing about it is, at the time, I didn't much care for Bush, but our finances were fine at the time with me and my wife because we're middle class. And since Obama's taken over, me and my wife are essentially living paycheck to paycheck. We're paying higher for fuel, higher for our efficiencies, gas and all that, higher for food. It's taken his presidency is taking a real huge toll on our finance.
It is totally reasonable, totally understandable why you would hate Bush. You're born a Democrat, you're raised a Democrat. And during that period of time, the media is doing nothing but dumping on Bush for 5 years straight. Bush is lying, Bush is this, Bush is Hitler, counting the number of deaths in Iraq. If you're a Democrat, you couldn't help hating Bush.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, I had a closed mind. I wouldn't, open myself up to listen to you until after Obama. And then after that, I found you and Hannity and Levin and, started realizing, hey, these guys are telling the truth. They're not just out here making Obama.
But what made that happen was that somehow you saw through Obama. Obama revealed himself to be unlike what you thought he was when you voted for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wish some of the people I knew.
My point is that you're not the only one to whom this has happened.
No. So, and like I said, I just wish some of the other people would realize that, over the years, my mind has been opened up by what
we'll see how many have. I don't think you're alone by any stretch of the imagination.
But like I said, I am proud. Today I went and I did cast my vote for Mitt Romney. I'm not ashamed to say that. Hopefully tonight he'll be the president and we can move forward and things.
This has got to be, because I can't imagine how you feel. I mean, I know you feel liberated and happy, but I can't. For myself, I can't imagine this happening to me the other way around. I can't imagine somebody opening my eyes and, for example, making me vote Obama. For this to happen to these people, I mean, these people who voted for Obama were committed for one reason or another. This could be big.
All across America, progressive teachers are helping children to sing alike and think alike. Now, you can get the album that started it all. Kids Songs of the Revolution.
These time-tested songs in the original German will bring our country's youth together to do great things. With songs like my favorite, One Leader Forever. Kids just can't stand still when they hear Hope is in the Air. They'll really be marching to a different drummer with the classic Change is Here.
Kids Songs of the Revolution. Available at Acorn, Ahmadinejad.com, and teachers' unions everywhere.
Kids, tell your parents to get yours today before the economy collapses or healthcare implodes and the world burns up from global warming.
Kids Songs of the Revolution. Indoctrination hasn't been this much fun since 1933.
So, what kind of car do you have?
Well, I have a hybrid.
Wow, a hybrid. I'd love to have a hybrid.
What? You don't have a hybrid?
You can't afford a hybrid, yet you want the same feeling of moral superiority that hybrid owners have.
Yeah.
Well, now you can with new Earthocentric Hybrid Decals.
Awesome!
Earthocentric decals are made to look like a real hybrid car decal and can be placed on any car, truck, or van. Simply apply your hybrid decal and you'll be looking down your nose at non-hybrid drivers in no time.
Nice SUV there, buddy. What kind of mileage you get with that? Probably not as good as my hybrid.
And if you order today, we'll also include your choice of annoying self-important liberal bumper stickers, including arms are for hugging, visualize world peace, meat is murder, or the word coexist spelled in religious symbols.
So, how do you like my hybrid?
I didn't know 73 VWs came in a hybrid model.
It's aftermarket.
Earthocentric Hybrid Decals turn any car into a vehicle that makes you feel good about yourself and so superior. Do you have trouble being taken seriously?
How did you know?
Do you long for that certain special something lacking in your voice?
Uh-huh.
Do you want to make your average thoughts and ideas seem powerful and gifted?
Yeah.
Well, now you can have that confident, authoritative, God-like sound wherever you go with the Obamatron Verberator Pro. The Obamatron Verberator Pro is the only portable reverberation device personally endorsed by Barack Obama because it's so simple to use. Just implant the tiny sensor.
Wait.
And you can set your Verberator Pro for any occasion. Choose from Stately.
Wow, that is different. I feel so presidential. I come before you today to ask you for one of those tiny umbrellas for my drink.
Canyon.
Hello.
And for large egos, Der Führermeister.
I have led the accounting department to new and greater heights.
This holiday season, give the gift that no one can forget, the Obamatron Verberator Pro. The Verberator Pro is not for everybody on your list.
Some enchanted evening, you will see a stranger.
And may become annoying after a short period of time.
Looking good, huh? I'm talking about me.
Okay, from the Politico, it is more blame in advance if Obama loses. This time, it's the youth vote was ignored. If Obama loses, rock the vote, youth vote was ignored. The story in a nutshell is that whoever runs Rock the Vote says nationally most young people have been ignored by both campaigns. And the youth enthusiasm, it just wasn't what it should have been. Well, folks, we got a major problem here. Because I was watching earlier before the program started, and that loco weed, Van Jones, was on CNN. And they asked him, what's going to be the difference in the election today, Van? And Van just said the youth vote. You watch, that's what nobody's talking about. The youth vote. They're going to come out. They're going to come out at bigger numbers even in 2008 for Obama. The youth vote is going to make... Hey, here, Rock the Vote says nobody's paying attention to us. There's no enthusiasm in the youth vote. I've heard plenty of anecdotal evidence stories that the college professors have said their students couldn't care less this year, like compared to 2008. They're just not into it. This last guy that called, the longtime Democrat, voted for Obama. Did you hear what Realville was for him? Realville for him. Gas prices, the economy, living paycheck to paycheck. And did you hear what he said? He said he hated Bush, but the economy was okay then. The economy was okay then. And he thought Obama was going to make it better, but it's gotten worse. Those are real life things. And that coupled with the bloom came off the Obama rose. And then that mixed with the fact that he was finally hearing things uttered by me and others that started to make sense to him when combined with all the other things he was thinking and feeling. But I was telling Snerdley and everybody during the break, we hear from Democrats on this program all the time who say that they're former Democrats now and that they've been listening to this show for a long time and they finally switched and they're called here and they're very happy about it, which is great. And I'm not trying to impugn that at all. I don't misunderstand. Snerdley, I think, misunderstood me in a point I was making, and I don't want you to. So I can't imagine that happening to me. There's nothing that anybody could say, and there's nothing that could happen short of Obama doing a 180 and becoming a different guy that would make me support him. It would just never happen because conservatism is an intellectual pursuit and it results from an attachment to the founding of the country and to the notion of freedom and liberty and the role of government in that whole equation. It's not a popularity contest. To me, it's not about who looks better or who makes me feel better. Well, that's not entirely true. Reagan made a lot of people feel good about being Americans again. So that does matter. But I could never imagine that happening to me. And we hear about it frequently on this program. Democrats giving it up, chucking it, and becoming conservatives or Republicans. And it's a major thing, is my point. It's not an insignificant thing when it happens. I'll never forget, after the 2002 midterms, when the Democrats thought, because of history, that they were going to pick up seats. They hated Bush. They were just starting in on their opposition to Bush on the way he was handling 9/11. And the Republicans gained seats in the 2002 midterms. Tom Daschle, at the time, was the majority leader of the Democrats in the Senate. And he blabbed something he shouldn't have said. The Democrats were really rocked by that election. And that was the election where the exit poll showed that value voters made the difference. So the Democrats were all out there saying, well, we're going to become value guys. We're going to pay very close attention to values. And Daschle said, our experts told us that it's not just Republicans who listen to Rush Limbaugh. There are Democrats who listen to Rush Limbaugh, and they change their minds. And we are very concerned. And it's ever since then that their efforts to impugn and discredit me have really ratcheted up. But it's still a major thing to have. Can any of you imagine out of just changing your mind and becoming an Obama voter? I don't think there are very many Republicans in this election that are going to vote for Obama. CNN posted 99% of all Republican votes are going to Romney. 1% are going to go to Obama. And so Jay-Z, a noted rap figure in American pop culture, a noted Obama bundler and fundraiser and supporter, performed live with Obama, who is the President of the United States, at a campaign event in Columbus, Ohio yesterday. Now, remember, it is Obama and the Democrats who claimed that it's the Republicans who are conducting a war on women. So here's Mr. Z, who I think the most often used word in his lyrics is hoes and bitches, is performing for the President of the United States and his supporters at a half-filled arena in Columbus, Ohio. Now, we don't know what's in Mr. Z's heart, but Mr. Z performed his song 99 Problems, and he changed the lyrics. He changed the word bitch to mitt. And we have just a little 16-second blurb of this. Now, this took place, again, in Columbus, Ohio, at a rally for the President of the United States, who is conducting a campaign accusing the Republicans of conducting a war on women.
If you having girl problems, I put back for you, son. I got 99 problems, but it ain't one. I got the rap control on the gap control. Foes that wanna make sure my casket closed. Rap critics to say he's money cash shows. I'm from the hood, stupid. What type of facts are those?
Need to repeat the lyric line there? If you're having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but mitt ain't one. The word bitch is normally in the lyric line there, but he said mitt. I got the rap patrol on the Gap Patrol, foes that want to make sure my casket's closed, rap critics that say he's money cash hose. I'm from the hood, stupid. What type of facts are those? That's at a campaign rally for the President of the United States, at a half-filled arena. Prior to that, it was Bruce Springsteen, who took the phone from Obama and called the governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, fulfilling a lifelong dream of the governor, to talk to the boss. Governor Christie said he went home and wept that call had such meaning. Michelle Obama, last night in Des Moines, Iowa, at a campaign event.
This is a pretty emotional time for us because this is the final event of my husband's final campaign. So this is the last time that he and I will be on stage together at a campaign rally.
Well, no, not really. Not if you win. He's going to be... I mean, I know what she's trying to say here. But this, what are they, evoking the sympathy vote? It's our last rally together. It's our last campaign. It's our last... Is that how you're thinking as you're embarking on a second term? If you're thinking about embarking on a second term with all the wonderful flexibility you're going to have to deal with Putin and Russia, and all the wonderful flexibility you're going to have to do whatever you want to do to this country, and nobody can stop you, and you're looking at it as your last rally. Here's Obama himself in Des Moines last night.
I want to take this opportunity to say one thing to all the young people and not so young people who've given so much to this campaign over the years. Those of you who haven't done this just for me, but for each other, for a laid-off family member, for a sick child, for a fallen friend, to all of you who've lived and breathed the hard work of change, I want to thank you.
Sounds like a guy saying goodbye. I'm sorry. Sounds like a guy saying goodbye. Michelle Obama is also telling crowds in Florida, don't let anybody push you out of line. Don't let anybody push you out of... What is she, worried about Bull Connor? Don't let anybody push you out of line. That's the warning to Florida. I'm fascinated by the view that liberals have of this country. You haven't done this just for me, but you've done it for a laid-off family member, a sick child, fallen friend. Do you realize they look out across this, all they see is misery? That's all they see is misery. And everything they do bounces off of misery. They want you to see it the same way. They want you to feel miserable. They're there to help you through the misery. Anyway, I got to take a break, my friends, because of the constraints of the programming format. We will be back.
Now, America needs you more than ever.
Go vote and get everybody you know to go vote.
In the public interest.
Just go vote.
From the EIB Network.
Most Americans don't realize that kids are a real drag on the economy, and that's why Nancy Pelosi, as part of the Obama stimulus package, is releasing her new DVD, Don't Do It, with helpful advice from Nancy about contraception for young adults.
After you have applied the glue and the staples, take the condom and apply it to the cucumber gently like this.
Oh, let's just hold hands.
Okay.
As part of the recovery package, the Don't Do It DVD will be required viewing in fertility clinics nationwide.
Motherhood is a wonderful thing, but are you sure you want to bring another child into this world during a recession? What's its carbon footprint? Remember, if your child eats, somewhere another child goes hungry.
When Nancy's Don't Do It DVD is broadcast nightly across the country, it'll be guaranteed to give everyone a headache and couples more cash to stimulate the economy.
Oh no, she's pole dancing again. Let's just go to the mall.
Okay.
So if you're in the mood, try Nancy Pelosi's Don't Do It DVD, the most effective contraceptive ever. Do you have trouble being taken seriously?
How did you know?
Do you long for that certain special something lacking in your voice?
Uh-huh.
Do you want to make your average thoughts and ideas seem powerful and gifted?
Yeah.
Well, now you can have that confident, authoritative, God-like sound wherever you go with the Obamatron Verberator Pro. The Obamatron Verberator Pro is the only portable reverberation device personally endorsed by Barack Obama because it's so simple to use. Just implant the tiny sensor.
Wait.
And you can set your Verberator Pro for any occasion. Choose from Stately.
Wow, that is different. I feel so presidential. I come before you today to ask you for one of those tiny umbrellas for my drink.
Kenyon.
Hello.
And for large egos, Der Führermeister.
I have led the accounting department to new and greater heights.
This holiday season, give the gift that no one can forget, the Obamatron Verberator Pro. The Verberator Pro is not for everybody on your list.
Some enchanted evening, you will see a stranger.
And may become annoying after a short period of time.
Looking good, huh? I'm talking about me.
Now a message in the public interest about PTSD, pre-traumatic stress disorder.
Does anyone you know attend a radical mosque with a jihadist imam? Does he or she attempt to reach out to Al-Qaeda? Say inflammatory things online or at the workplace about America, the great Satan? At first you might think they could be an Islamic terrorist nutjob, but they are just suffering from PTSD, pre-traumatic stress disorder.
Pre-traumatic stress disorder is caused by the stress one experiences from George W. Bush's mistaken attempt to defend our country against terrorism by sending troops overseas.
So before you jump to conclusions and get all judgmental about people who act differently than you, remember, gunning down random soldiers and shouting Allahu Akbar may just be a cry for help.
This message about pre-traumatic stress disorder brought to you by the Secretary of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano, who's more worried about offending terrorists than protecting you.
I was just watching the Romneys in here walking to a rally. I guess they're, I don't know, maybe it's New Hampshire, it's Ohio somewhere. It's on television. And, you know, I have to say, they are the most wholesome, the most normal, pleasant-looking couple that I can think of in public life. It just... They just look happy, confident, happy in their own skins. Saying normal is going to offend people, and I don't want to offend anybody with this. They're just I just think it'd be a shame if a country miss out on such a good guy as Romney seems to be. I think it'd be a real shame. Just the contrast in the two, culturally and substantively. Romney knows it isn't about him. If Obama, everything's about him. You couldn't have a greater contrast here. You really could. And it's all about voting, folks. All these stories and all of the media coverage and all the polling data, it comes down to voting. And that's what you have to do. It's not plenty of time if you haven't. Never, ever think that your vote's going to be made up by somebody else that you don't have to. It doesn't work that way. And by the way, I don't need a poll, folks, to tell you how the students at Hillsdale College's online course on the Constitution are going to be voting today. As an example, Hillsdale College, for the second year in a row, is making their campus course on the Constitution, Level 2, available this year free. Online to anybody who wants to sign up for it. Constitution 201. Last year they did Constitution 101. This year it's Constitution 201. Hundreds of thousands of people have signed up and taken the course. And it's online, on demand. You take it when you have time. If you want to take a test, you can. If you want to interact, you can. But the one thing I know, everybody who's taken this course, I know how they're going to vote. That's what this election is about. This election is about this nation's founding. This election is about what direction we're going to go. Are we going to abandon the Constitution? Are we going to abandon liberty in favor of tyranny? That's where we're headed. That's what this election's about. And people who have taken the online Constitution course, offered free of charge by Hillsdale College, know full well what I'm talking about, as does anybody else who is educated on the Constitution. It's the Constitution that defines this country. It's the Constitution that limits government power over the individual. It's the Constitution that celebrates the natural God-given rights, freedom and liberty, pursuit of happiness, and all that of the citizen. It's the Constitution that protects the citizen from overreaching government. It's the Constitution that has to be subordinated and corrupted for government to grow to its unwieldy size. If you want to take this course, I strongly urge you, register yourself and experience a great set of lectures, conversations, learning on demand whenever it's convenient for you. The website is rushforhillsdale.com. Rushforhillsdale.com. I am not kidding. Liberty versus tyranny is on the ballot today. And I'm not exaggerating an iota. Vote for your freedom today. Vote for your liberty today. But just vote.
The truth lives here. Rush on the EIB network. Now, Albert Gore Jr. with one more way you can save the planet.
Instead of driving, try riding your bicycle to work and simplify your life. If only 1 in 5 Americans did this, we would save 196 billion barrels of oil every day. Ride a bike created from recycled metal from a manufacturer that uses at least 50% solar or wind power. Instead of air, try filling your tires with CO2 by blowing them up with your lips, like a balloon, trapping this dangerous greenhouse gas. Don't forget to reduce your use of harmful plastics by going seatless. You'll be surprised at the results of taking plastic out of your carbon footprint. Be sure and wear proper earth-friendly attire. Create your own hand-knitted shorts from discarded dryer lint, gathered from the dumpster behind your local washateria. Create nifty sandals from newspaper and rubber bands and twist ties and pieces of string that you find along.
You're over time. We need to cut.
Well, we can't cut it anymore. I won't have time to tell them how to simplify their life.
So why has the economy been so bad during President Obama's first term? It's no accident. It's economic sabotage. The new blockbuster hit from Axelrod Productions. Even as President Obama was being sworn in,
I, Barack Obama, do silently swear that I will uphold the...
Republicans were starting to sabotage the economy.
Psst. Hey, tank the economy. Pass it down.
Then they misled the president to further destroy the American economy.
So, you think I shouldn't worry about unemployment? Just focus on Obamacare, raise taxes, go crazy with regulation, and run up $3 trillion in debt?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Well, okay.
And now, they're recklessly forcing the president to cut government spending or else.
But if I cut government spending, old people will die, and polar bears will be cold.
So what?
Economic sabotage. David Axelrod says, it's the best thing we could come up with. Anthony Weiner says, no comment. And George Soros says, it's unbelievable.
And stupid.
Economic sabotage. The biggest conspiracy to hit D.C. since the Bilderbergs and the Queen of England stole J. Edgar Hoover's brain. Economic sabotage in select theaters and art houses everywhere. Now a message from the John F. Kerry State.
One other thing, today is the absolute last chance to stop Obamacare. This is it, folks. The last chance to stop Obamacare. And we need your vote. And we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for being with us today.